right now, actually. Our cable went down, internet went down.
Mm.
And so, and again, if you know how AI talks, it's obvious these are AI
Oh, you mean like
generated
a phone call?
responses.
AI phone call?
No texts from our MediaCom
Okay.
provider.
It's easy to do
And
text
so
over voice.
the old ones used to be MediaCom cares about, your service, blah, blah. Whereas
Boilerplate. Yeah,
the new
boilerplate.
ones are, we just want to thank you for being patient with us while the lines were down. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please feel free to call anytime and we'll
No
be glad.
personal name, though?
No personal name.
Okay.
And you realize, oh no, that's AI because I've done that, right? I've shared that with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is how AI is designed to respond to these. You're like, oh, at least AI is talking to us because before no one was. Just auto-generated responses.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind talking to AI.
Exactly. What?
What
You
did,
can't.
what did Zuckerberg said? It was fantastic. He's like, yeah, we might be able to cure a bunch of diseases, but that's not really the end game. The end game is that you
Right.
need a friend.
Yes.
Like, oh, you could be healthy, or you could have a friend.
A
Which would you
friend
rather
for
have?
the end of the world, as Soundgarden sang. Yes.
He'll go live in his bunker. What is it? How many acres does he have in Hawaii now? It's like
It's like
100,000 acres or
12
something.
stories straight down or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not the bunker. He just bought it, like
Yeah, he bought a
another whole
chunk.
parcel.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Oprah for not opening her road to people so they can
I
get
thought
out
she
of
did.
Hawaii. No,
She closed it.
she locked it.
I saw the other story.
Yeah, maybe she opened it up after they stood there and
This is just Donovan
demanded
Riley's
she
personal
open it.
opinion. Please do not sue us.
That's right. This does not reflect the opinions of the show and or
Or
yeah, or
1517 Podcast Network,
1517
or
their associates.
how many acres does Zuckerberg
Oh, it's got to
own
be
in
half the island.
whatever island is it? I don't know what island he's on. Probably the big island, I imagine.
Mm,
2,300 acres on Kauai.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. What a success story for that guy. Comes out of nowhere, makes a billion,
Nowhere, also DARPA.
otherwise known as DARPA. He was created and manufactured and merchandised just like all of
I
them
love
are.
the movie, though.
Yeah.
Social Network. You're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Is this movie also
Yes.
a creation of the CIA?
Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. Durr. Yeah. So I always recommend go back and watch old news clips and documentaries from like 80s and 90s so you get the perspective of time because we're always a slave of the moment and it's almost impossible to have objectivity in the moment because of that. But then you go back and watch clips or documentaries or news C-SPAN from the 80s and 90s and you have the perspective of time and then you go, "Oh, wait a minute. They said they were going to do it and now we're living in it.
Right.
Oh, now I understand." It's always beneficial to me to watch documentaries from the past versus trying to figure out what's happening in the present for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like you said, we were talking before we went live.
Yeah.
You get to see, how the sausage is made, the programming.
And understand that the people that are doing whatever, and again, from the small level to the large level, macro to micro, whichever it is, if it's like, even like family planning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is like you're decades ahead of everybody else before everyone else catches on. Because you're
Right.
like, yeah, we planned it and then we executed on the plan and, like a garden is a
Mm-hmm.
perfect example. You plan it out, you plant it, you wait 3, 4, 5, 6 years before anybody sees the fruit of your labors. And you're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, when did you do that? Well, actually, we've been planning this for like almost a decade.
Do you know, I'm going to give you a financial example of this point.
Please do.
Because I know you love these things. But there's this whole mechanism called OTA.
Yeah, I know OTA.
Yeah. So it's basically off-book trading.
Uh-huh.
So instead of it affecting the market price, there's just certain sellers, buyers,
Mhm.
they deal outside of the public market.
Mhm.
So over the counter kind of idea, right? So they're just doing it off on the side.
Mhm.
So there's large caches of people who want to sell, large caches who want to buy, but they don't want it to affect market price because they want to
Mhm.
buy cheap, sell high, whatever it is, right? So they just do this behind the scenes. And you and I don't have access to these things.
Yeah, of
That's
course
just
not.
how it is. Getting 1,000 acres, his recent buy, Mr. Zuckerberg,
Yeah,
cost him $300 million.
that's all.
That's all.
Man.
I mean, I'm sure there was some kind of deal with the native population. Like, I'm going to do all these roads. We're going to improve your water
Sure,
infrastructure or
absolutely.
something.
Yeah.
We'll put up wind farms or solar panels or something. Build a nuke. I don't know. But there you go. So that's because he went from 1,300 to 2,300 just like that.
Again, to see a rags to riches story like that, it really inspires a lot of people to aim high.
What's the story of Priscilla, though? That's what I want to know.
Priscilla and Aquila?
No, his wife, Priscilla Chan.
Oh, gee, there's rumors
Yeah.
that she may or may not be an agent of a certain government,
Mm-hmm.
and he's controlled opposition because he's fractured.
So he can't develop most of it. That's part of the deal.
Oh,
The vast majority, it's now dedicated to agriculture.
that's why he's building underground.
Cattle ranching, organic
Yeah.
ginger, macadamia nut, and turmeric farming.
Nice. Good
And then
for him.
and then there was agreements to all sorts of native plant restoration and endangered species protections.
Right on.
So he's philanthropic.
Absolutely.
He's what do you call it? Like when we built the national parks, like Roosevelt or something,
Yeah.
right?
There we go.
He's a conservationist. That's
Yeah,
it.
there we
That's
go.
the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I did, we were talking off camera about my Bible class yesterday. I did drop on them that there's cities underground all over the United States, and they've been being built since the post World War II era.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's an access point in the Kellermarine Forest to the west of here.
Oh, is there?
Right, and
Yeah,
our
most
fr-
of these cities are under our national parks. By the
our
way.
mutual
That's-
friend Vicky,
Yeah.
because they have underground, transit,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes out to Lake Michigan,
Nice.
submarine kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I'm saying this as if it's all true. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Matter of fact, but
We-
yes,
You know,
but it is. Anyways,
it would be kind of a fun project to find the access point in the forest.
divers have.
Well,
Divers
yeah.
have gone down there and seen.
Well, yeah, in the lake, but
Yeah, in the lake.
where it comes out and where the
Mhm.
connection
Right.
points are, because
Right.
you can overlay the AT&T map as well.
Right. Right.
So you have communication infrastructure
Exactly.
overlaid
Yep.
on top of
Yep.
it.
That's all you got to do.
So you have communication, you have
Mhm.
travel. Yeah.
Well, it's like they use old mines, for example, for cooking meth. You're like, why? And you're like, because nobody goes into old mines.
Right.
It's the perfect place. There's
Well, it's
access.
haunted too, right?
Yeah, well, that's you spread those rumors around the community, right? You just play on folklore.
Mhm.
But there's multiple access points in and out of the mines, right? Especially if they're in the mountains. It's perfect, plenty of space. You can do what you need to do down there, and no one's the wiser.
Grok says that there are no fully functional inhabited subterranean metropolises in the U.S.
Okay.
There are in other countries, though.
Of course. Other than the one they admitted is under,
Derinkuyu in Turkey.
other than the one that they admitted is under the Denver airport, because that's the capital
Now
of
there are
America.
projects currently in process. Subtropolis in Kansas City.
The reason I brought that up actually is because you read both in Revelation, right? That in Revelation they say that they're going to like tunnel under the earth and live in caves under the earth because that's part of the judgment. But I said, we know archaeologically, they're all over the world that people built cities under the ground. You can actually go and tour them today. They're tourist
Well,
destinations.
there's the ones that got flooded.
Turkey,
the
India,
the mud floods, right?
whatever. No, I'm saying like that aside. You can go to Turkey, you can go to India. There's
Mhm.
South.
Yeah, they
there's-
list the Turkey one here.
Right, they're all over the place. You can go and tour them. They're underground cities because at some point people moved underground, and then archaeologists speculate as to why. Whereas we're like, but the Bible tells you why. There was a flood.
You're
and-
talking about the thing that Catherine Austin Fitz said on Tucker.
What's that? I didn't.
She's the
I
one
don't-
that talked. Yeah, the 170 underground bases connected by
Oh.
tunnels in the U.S. Yeah,
But anyways, again, and you can
I mean
go
she
back.
did work for the government. So.
She did, but I'm just saying you can actually go back to the 1950s where they filed the drafts of these things. Like
Yeah.
they're all public records, so we knew they built them. And they said
Well, they wanted to in any case. Yeah.
And they said at the time, well, we're building them in case of a nuclear war. We have to have somewhere to go,
Yeah,
right?
right,
I mean,
of
us,
course.
not you, but us. You guys hide under your desks in your schools.
What was the
But-
movie where they have to drive everybody underground because of the floods? It was one of those apocalyptic kind of things with the massive tsunami.
I don't
Edge of Tomorrow. No, that's a different one.
No.
Something about tomorrow. And there's the big flood, and then it's
Yeah.
got everything. It's got
Anyways,
tornadoes, hurricanes.
I was pointing out to them
You have to go
like,
into the underground bunkers.
that we know archaeologically, and you can go to these places for yourself, that people lived underground. They built cities underground because they were afraid of something. Even Easter Island is this way, actually. There's places underground in Easter Island where they went underground. And so some cataclysmic event happened that drove people underground
Into
around
caves,
the same
yeah,
into
yeah.
caves, and they built these cities. And I said, do you actually think that the same people that feared those cataclysmic events happening again at that time didn't keep repeating that? Again, that's all nuclear war. The fear of nuclear war or the fear of a pandemic is it is a group of people fearing a cataclysmic event, and it drives them underground, and they build these cities in case this happens. I'm like, you have to stop thinking that the things we read about in the Bible happened and then stopped. And then everybody just moved on. That's not
But
how we
why are
do
those
things.
Roman shoes so large?
That was a great story yesterday.
Thought you'd love
My
that
son and I
one.
laughed about that. That was great. Because I pointed out to him they're on the north side of Hadrian's Wall,
Uh-huh.
not on the Roman side.
Right.
So,
They had really big feet.
well, as my son was joking, he's like, well, maybe they were just bored and they were making large shoes. I'm like, that is an option for sure. Yeah, for sure.
What is we used to do this. We would put rando stuff in time capsules, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So somebody will find this someday and be
Right.
like, "What was that?"
Right.
Yeah.
Just make them question it. Yeah. But anyways, all fun stuff, all documented, publicly available information for anyone who's curious to go out there and look at it.
You do remember what was the one thing we brought up? Because I was mentioning the AT&T networks. Oh yes, when that AT&T hub was
Mm-hmm.
destroyed, that was in Nashville, right?
Yeah, it was in Nashville. Yep.
And then that was just the end of the story. We never did
Correct.
find out more about it.
Right.
Hmm.
Even though the servers that were in that building held other information that was relevant to the time that it happened.
What is agent mode for ChatGPT? Can now do work on its own computer?
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
it makes its own nodes. So it communicates with other apps and other websites and creates nodes so
Oh.
it can expand the matrix of information gathering.
Oh, I see. It's connect. Oh, that's how they're going to monetize it
Yeah,
even more. So because they get Priceline pays money to connect to
right.
chat.
Well, and then you can connect it to
Uh,
your phone, you can connect it to your iPad, and the app's then on there, and it connects to
I
your
already
social
have
media.
it signed in everywhere. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But the point is, ultimately, right, it's end-to-end generative AI. It can create websites for you and invest in the
Oh,
stock
okay.
market for you and do all that stuff for you that apparently Nancy Pelosi already has the
Oh, well,
technology
and
for.
I was going to send you the app for this actually because it directly connects with Robinhood and just automates the trades.
Mm,
And it has the Pelosi trackers built into there. And if you had,
nice.
yeah, it's like 65% year over year,
Yeah.
which is, that's pretty good returns.
Like, again, they'll let you have the crumbs from the table because they've already put the restrictions in place to prevent you from ever becoming that rich.
What are examples of underground cities international? Okay.
My favorite is there's one in India, I think it is. That's the one that's acoustically perfect. That's pretty
Yeah, the
amazing.
one that had the weird domes.
Yeah, but it's you can stand in the middle of it and
You
whisper
can hear
and
everything.
hear everything, and like geometrically, they've measured it with laser rulers, and it's actually geometrically perfect. There's no flaws.
What? It's showing, this is new. It's showing me all the nodes and all of its searching
Nice.
on the
The update
screen.
came out just like I said, the week of the 25th.
Oh, what is the, oh, I don't know what version I'm on. Huh.
They should be like now is supposed to be when.
Because it's doing like the deep think kind of thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 5 was supposed to come out the week of the 25th, which would be this
Okay.
week.
Well,
So
that might be this.
yeah, good. I have something to
It's
play
taking a
with
little bit
today.
longer, but it's showing me all the websites it's searching. And
Yeah,
every step it's taking.
yeah.
History.com.
By the way, again, as one of my friends, so to speak, on Instagram pointed out, if you want to know where all the energy in the water is going,
They're
it's
building it here. I
it's
didn't know this. I found
your
this out.
questions about how to fix your washing machine that you asked ChatGPT and
We were
Grok
just
and
we were just
Gemini.
having the question like, well, wait a minute, they're going to pull cool water from
Yep.
Lake Michigan, but they're going
Yep.
to put warm water back in then? And what's that going to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Other than kill all the animals, nothing.
Oh, okay. Oh, I figure we'll just get strange algae and stuff.
That too, but it'll kill all the animals. That's what happened in Connecticut when they sprayed that pesticide. It killed all the turtles.
So they're doing 2 or 3 of the largest in the U.S. are going to building right here in my area.
Oh, good for you.
I know.
You ain't rural no more.
I know. And what was interesting about it is that they're not directly funded by Meta or whoever.
Yeah,
It's all third party and
I know.
then large
61
money.
trillion, I read. They've invested 61 trillion
Oh,
over the last like
it's got to be.
3 or 4 years.
The best
That
part
was
about
that's what Bankman said actually.
yeah, that makes sense.
Bankman said they invested. I'm like 61 trillion. No wonder they won. Which is why this is why the U.S.
You mean
Department-
Altman?
Altman.
I
sorry,
know
yeah,
you get
not
those two
Bankman.
confused.
Yeah, I know it's easy because they
Well,
they
they were-
look alike.
And they're both in that same cult.
They are. Yeah.
What is it? Effective altruism.
Yeah. Right. Yep. But like the head of the Department of Ed said, we're developing new curriculum for public schools with the WEF, and you know what the central platform was for their new curriculum? AI. All children will now just receive AI when they go to school on their iPads, and it's like, then why go to school? You're just teaching your children to not think for themselves and not get a job.
That'd be
Well,
prompt jockeys.
You don't need those people. You don't need prompt jockeys.
You don't think so?
No, you need immigrants to work and do all the jobs that you don't want to do.
There is manual labor still, but I
That's
saw the
it.
robots that were folding my laundry.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, we are live on YouTube.
I know we are, but I'm just, again, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me
No,
I'm
no, no,
wrong.
no, no, no. I mean, I told you I'd tell you when we were live.
What is the whole purpose of a business, which is low in like putting as little as possible into paying your workers
Hmm.
to work by getting the
Maximum
most.
productivity.
Exactly, right? Do more with less. So if we can get rid of the workers with AI and then increase profits, and then we are participating in that by sending our kids to public school to learn from AI so that they can't be workers because they're going to be replaced by the very thing that's quote unquote, teaching them, helping them learn. It's
Hmm.
like you're literally just educating people out of jobs so that the people that own these businesses maximize their profits and don't have to pay health
I
insurance.
was going to send you Microsoft's list of the top 50 jobs that are
To
first to
chat
go
on the
with.
live stream, they already alter weather patterns because the
Yeah, I know.
the towers that monitor the weather also emit microwaves that actually change the weather. That's why everything's gone crazy this past month. There's
I
people monitoring this
Oh, I
24
should have
7 on
sent you.
YouTube.
I was up at the top of a mountain in South Dakota,
Yeah,
and I was showing the kids. They were like, "What are those big round white things on the towers?" I'm like,
weather modification.
no,
Yeah,
those are microwave,
yeah,
and you're getting cooked right now.
yeah,
So we're
right,
not going to stay up here too long. But
right. Yeah,
this way,
PS.
this way,
Yeah,
nobody's up here. So it was interesting. Some of the things reduced by AI. Some of the biggest
yeah.
fields, sales reps, of course, right?
Hmm.
But historians they list.
Well,
Microsoft lists
yeah, for sure.
historians.
I said this to you about like 12 years ago. I said Google destroyed my PhD
Right.
because who cares? I can look it up.
Archivists.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying 1,200 teacher jobs,
Hmm.
which isn't a lot, but that's some.
Well,
Economics teachers in specific,
mm,
which make because they think
hmm,
like
right.
we can just run an economy with AI.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Concierges, I suppose.
Hmm.
Ticket agents, definitely.
Cashiers will be replaced. Yeah.
Broadcast announcers, radio
The
DJs, don't need
service
those.
industry, the whole service industry will be gutted by AI.
But farm and home management educators, I
Oh,
thought that was an interesting one. I mean, we
yeah.
already know that tractors can be driven with a computer,
Hmm.
but that's not. We have robotic dairy farms here.
Hmm.
You
If
just
anybody's curious, I post on this on Instagram every day about this stuff on my personal page. You just go to Donovan O'Reilly, and I post this stuff every day, so you can get the links to the YouTube
I mean,
channels.
it's not fear mongering or fear factory kind of stuff.
No, it's just understanding that the reason that things happen is because they're being done on purpose.
And we've
This
had. I
isn't
mean, we're not
accidental.
Luddites. We know.
Right. But again, if you don't know the enemy's tactics, you don't know how then to respond to the things that happen around you.
Well, and I think it's
It's
fair.
very,
Like if you've got young people, is
yeah,
say, um, you know, unless you're going to offer some kind of advantage over what can be done with a computer in these fields, don't enter these fields.
that too.
You know,
Exactly.
work with your hands,
Most I tell
make
people, I'm like,
stuff.
listen, they're like around 8% of the original forests that were here 100 years ago are still here.
Oh yeah,
You know,
all the old
and
growth is cut.
and then
Yeah.
what was it also? It was that. Oh, and 86% of all the bees have died this year in the United States, according to
Every
the.
year we get that story though.
Yeah. Well, whatever the number is, they just keep reducing it because
I
they just keep
guess
killing them off. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It doesn't matter right now. But the point is,
5G. Thank you.
well, also European bees. There's a lot of
Yeah.
reasons. The
There's that
like
one
the
fungus.
elimination of wild lands,
Hmm.
and pollinating plants. Like I didn't know this till this past week. I learned cities only plant male trees. They don't plant female trees because they don't want them to fruit. That's why allergies are actually
Because then you'd
worse.
have to cut trees down.
Yet you got to clean up that stuff
You have to
too.
call it. Yeah.
And so you have as male trees pollinating with nowhere to go with that. There's nowhere for it to go. So it just floats through the air. So actually allergies have gotten worse because of this. And it's not insidious. It's just a practical solution because cities don't like the cleanup. They don't like,
With second, third order effects that
right.
maybe
And
aren't
so I'm like,
predictable.
so the best thing you can do is plant trees. Like if you want to do something to like really improve the world, plant trees and raise non-European bees, or get a cooperative going in your community and share the burden of, getting bees, and understand that you can change your world. You can change the world for the better, but you have to do it locally. You have to do it in your community.
Yeah, and it does take quite a bit of land. I mean, you can only
Not
have so many
really.
bees. Well,
I mean,
no,
yeah, for bees for sure. Like
right?
for bees, you do need that.
Because they
But
are
but as
territorial.
far as like gardens and stuff like that, rewild your lawn. Stop spraying your lawn with poison. Stop mowing it. Rewild it. raise wildflowers, raise vegetables, raise fruiting plants, and
Yeah,
then that'll
but
attract bees.
yeah, you
And
know, my HOA is going to get on my case.
as long as it's not above 4 feet, most HOAs will allow it.
4 feet?
Yeah, 4 feet.
I don't believe that.
There's a case of a woman in D.C.
Yeah.
She got
I'm not
sued.
looking to get into a lawsuit with my neighbors, though, either.
No, do you want it or not? Do you want to change the world or not? Get into it.
I just don't want neighbors.
I mean, that's our whole problem, actually. And I know that, I'm not supposed to talk this way because I'm a good Christian pastor, but like we're really, for me, at the point where people really need to start engaging in civil disobedience a lot more forcefully
Yeah.
and purposefully. Like the passivity of people.
Well, it has to be over. I mean, I think initially,
Yeah.
let the little things be important,
Yeah, 100%.
just to prove
Right.
the point. I
Well,
mean,
the
this
little
is
things become the big things, but you have to start with the little things.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and because we're naturally contrarian, being
Yeah.
that's part of our tradition.
Yeah, well, I thought you meant our personalities, but
Well, it's that too, but no, but definitely our theological tradition is contrarian as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell us what to do, or we're going to do it,
right.
right? Or if you're going to tell us we can't do something, we're going to absolutely
Right.
continue to do it just to
Right.
prove a point.
Hmm. But it's
Yeah.
like you're sacrificing your children to the machine.
That's true.
You know you are. Even if you can't name the machine, even if you can't define it, you know what you're doing.
Well, and for me, the most scandalous is to then put a guise of Christian,
Piety over the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and to say, well, but we're just being good Christian.
Lying to your
people.
children is a sin. It's a damnable sin, actually.
Yeah, there's the millstone bit.
Well, again, you can be honest with your children and still be compassionate. You can still tell them the truth without, overburdening them with worry and anxiety, but you can still tell them the truth
Mm-hmm.
and teach them to always tell the truth and never lie, but to tell the truth with compassion. But it's like even in AA, we talk about rigorous honesty and
Mhm.
fearless moral inventory. Rigorous, fearless. Be fearless in your moral judgments. Right is right, wrong is wrong. That's called integrity. That's what it used to be called.
Did I tell you this? Oh, no, we were having a conversation at our couples Bible study. I said, I think it would be reasonable for our congregation to say something like, in our congregation and amongst our people here, we believe that our marriage is lifelong, that sexual intimacy belongs only to marriage, and that we don't get divorced.
Right.
That's what we believe, and or that
Yeah,
child.
something in that.
You could
Yeah.
add something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it actually would be appropriate for us.
And the ultimate goal of marriage is children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I talked about that too, and how Trenum kind of blew my mind on that because he took the three purposes of marriage as it's in our right and it turned them upside down. I was like, I think you actually need to
Yeah.
start with children, don't end with children. But in any case, that we just make those kind of assertions to say, this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is what we stand for.
Right.
Right. It's like, don't tread on me kind of flag in a way. Right.
I don't think we talked about this, but at the National Youth Gathering, which I don't pay attention to, but someone showed this to me, there was a speaker that did a breakaway on what the Bible says about male and female.
We talked about it last week.
We did. Okay.
I
yeah.
mentioned him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I had the conversation before it all got posted. So.
Okay. Right.
And he was talking about
Again, it's Gen Z who wants to pick this up.
Mm-hmm.
The millennials don't want to talk
Yeah,
about
he
it, but
estimated
Gen Z
probably
does.
1,000 people,
Yeah.
1,000 youth couldn't attend.
And again, you can be honest and tell the truth with integrity, but also be compassionate and kind. They're not exclusive to each other. But I think most people think you can either be compassionate or you have to deal with facts.
There is one element of his presentation that I think is probably worth mentioning, is that he's respected by the men because he actually is, fit.
Masculine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's built.
Mhm.
Like he does rucksacking and the whole. I
Mhm,
mean,
yeah.
he looks like he actually wants
Takes care of himself and
Well, he
has-
cares about doing man things.
Well, that's another thing that we don't want to talk about is the theology of the body, which we could probably do a whole series on the theology
we
of the
have
body.
it. That's true.
We'd have to read all the Roman Catholics because, well, we don't do anything
Yeah, I have
with
a
it.
few of them. I have John Paul's book, and then
But I was talking with someone about this
Christopher West.
yesterday,
Yeah.
which is if you want to, when the angels were cast out of heaven, God stripped them of their names. That seems pretty obvious. And there's traditions behind that too. They're stripped of their names and stripped of their bodies.
What do you call yourself? Legion. Yeah. no.
Legion.
That
But
means nothing. It's just
the
number.
best that we have then in order to name especially the kind of the fallen angels that were put over men after the Babel was destroyed
Mm-hmm.
is what we call the seven deadly sins. That's what they actually are. They're not, again, in the modern, we read backwards from modernity and think that the seven deadly sins are like character defects or like things that
Yeah.
you do. That's not how they understood that. They understood the 7 deadly sins are the 7 powers of hell
Mm-hmm.
that have the most influence over.
No, Dante picks up on this.
Right, he does.
Yeah.
And so, again, gluttony, as an example, is a deadly sin because gluttony is the name that we call the fallen
It's an
angel,
evil
the
spirit.
demon,
Yeah.
but it's actually an evil spirit that rules over men. And then we get in trouble as pastors for calling out gluttony in the pulpit because 60+%, 6 out of 10 Americans are morbidly obese.
Serve the demon.
And you're like, you literally serve an evil spirit and you don't want me to tell you the truth. And again, I'm not fat shaming you or body shaming you. I'm telling you, as your pastor, I'm loving you enough to tell you the truth that other people won't tell you, which is this isn't just an eating disorder or you're sad or depressed.
Or it's
or you just, like,
environment.
whatever, genetic,
Yeah.
all those nonsense diagnoses.
Well, I mean, there may be some truth to that.
There's zero.
Well, no, you act like your parents. I mean,
Right, that's not genetic though. That's nurture
that's what we
versus
call
nature.
genetics. Yes, I know.
But it's to say, listen, I'm going to call you out for gluttony. I'm going to call you out for drunkenness. I had a conversation yesterday about addiction, and they didn't like what I was saying because I was saying the truth.
Right.
And I said, the only reason I'm talking to you right now and telling you this is that I'm your pastor and I love you. And I'm not judging you. I'm telling you, this is necessary for your life,
Right.
that you understand what's happening, because you're killing yourselves by trying to embody something
The
that
longer
only
we-
Christ can take on.
Yeah, and the longer we refuse to call the thing what it is,
Correct.
The farther the remedy is from
Well, and
us.
especially in our tradition, the theologian of the cross calls a thing what it is in fact, Luther says.
Mm-hmm.
And then we quote it because we love it. It sounds great. But then in actual practice, we avoid it because we don't want to create conflict. And you noted this, one of the product of the Enlightenment was just love everybody.
Yeah, and I posted it in Telegram for you, the Civility podcast. We were talking about it.
Yeah, civility,
Live.
thank you. Right.
Yeah, being civil is not, it's not a theological virtue.
God, no, it's a vice.
But it's not framed that way by especially the Protestant, but also Roman Catholics, because we had Erasmus.
Yeah,
You know, well, he's the OG Protestant, I suppose, but
right. Yeah, gluttony is, again, live stream, gluttony is a consequence of spiritual oppression. Exactly. Because it's turning you away from Christ, who is the bread
But
of
what
life.
about the environment, and what about glyphosate?
Because
and
you haven't consecrated the earth to the Lord like he calls us to do.
those are just tools of the spirit,
100%.
of the false spirit.
Yeah, fruits of the Spirit, works of the flesh. You notice the works of our hands? Not good. Fruits of the Spirit, good. Genesis 2.
The
Go back to
spirit, though.
Yeah, the Spirit, not other spirits that claim to be the Spirit.
Who also have fruits of a kind,
They do produce
poisonous
fruits.
fruits.
They are poisonous, exactly.
What's the song that about the tree? And I think it's about slavery or something. But
Oh, bitter fruit? No,
you're right. You're on
Billie
it.
Holiday.
Is that
I
who it
love-
is?
Yeah, it's Billie Holiday who sings it.
It's
She
such a
didn't write it,
mournful song.
but she,
Ugh.
yeah, hanging from the poplar trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody tell me
Strange
live stream.
Fruit.
Strange Fruit. Thank you. Strange Fruit. Yeah. Beautiful, heartbreaking song, especially because she sings it and she's heartbreaking
She's
too.
23 at that time.
Yeah.
when it first
But
came
she
out.
was 83 actually when she was 23 because of what her mom put her through as a
right.
child. She was a prostitute as an adolescent. So she had already lived a couple lives by the time she was 23. Yeah. And she was a heroin addict at that time. And
1939, 23.
that's why her
years old.
voice is the way it is. Ella Fitzgerald talks about her and it's just heartbreaking.
Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root.
Because the original author of that song, the guy that wrote that,
There's a poem
it was a
from
poem.
the Bronx,
Yeah.
Abel Mirapole.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. And he's got an interesting history too. I love the Harlem Renaissance of poetry, Langston Hughes and those guys. Yeah, if you're into poetry or literature, go down that rabbit hole sometime. That's really fantastic.
I'll post a link.
I love Langston Hughes. He's a brilliant jazz poet and part of that Harlem Renaissance. Amazing stuff. Yeah.
It's
And
interesting.
by the way, again, with the perspective of objectivity of history, go read black men and black women from the Harlem Renaissance and how they viewed race in the United States and what they believed was necessary for black people to do in the 1920s, 30s, and even 40s to basically break the Jim Crow laws, to break down racial barriers, break down segregation. Like the things that they wrote, like with Frederick Douglass's stuff, you're like, oh no, these guys they had it. They knew, like they got it. Like that stuff is genius. Like that's brilliant stuff.
Yeah, because it's
Which
brutally
is why they're not
honest.
taught. It's brutally honest, but it's also take responsibility for your life. And again, change the world in small ways. Change your community, change the people around you.
Well, we
do
talked about
something
this,
beautiful.
I think, before the marriage rate in that community.
Yeah.
after
That's
like into the 50s even is like 95%,
Yeah,
80%. I mean,
yeah.
it's incredible.
Complete families was in the 90
Complete, yeah, it
percentile.
was in 90.
And then something weird happened in the 1960s and 70s.
I know.
And it just is, it's weird how the drugs just found their way into that community and they were targeted and there were agent provocateurs that went in there. So strange. So strange. But yeah, go back
not.
before the 60s. It's not, it's all coordinated, COINTELPRO. But go back to the 20s and 30s and see how they dealt with segregation and Jim Crow and stuff like that, zoning laws that prevented them from moving into neighborhoods, and look how they dealt with it. They're like, well, we'll just start our own universities then. And we'll be better than the other universities that kept us out. We'll elevate others within our own communities and they'll get educated and they'll start their own businesses and they'll build their own houses. And you're like, oh, personal responsibility. What a weird idea, rather than see yourself as victims. Even though they were actual victims, they're like, nope, we're not going to see ourselves as victims because that's how we lose. That's how we're defeated.
And that's true for everybody, not just
And
that
again,
community.
with the perspective of history, you realize that's why we're defeated today as a culture, because we've been convinced that we're all victims and that nobody has any personal responsibility for anything that happens to them.
You know what we need to do to totally change the subject? We need to make a pilgrimage to Ethiopia, where there's the 12th century rock-hewn churches.
I'd rather go to Syria
Well, we could do that too.
because that's where
Make
the
that on a trip.
Ethiopians got all their stuff from.
So the cross-shaped church of St. George is in a trench 100 feet deep,
Yeah.
connected to the other churches by passageways,
What's
caves,
the
and catacombs.
Ethiopian church that's at the top of that rock that you have to climb
Well,
to?
that's where the Ark of the Covenant is, or one of
No,
the
no,
copies.
this is a different one. This is like not that, like an actual church.
No,
that-
I'm saying they say they have the Ark.
No, I'm saying I know where that church is. I'm saying the church I'm referring to, you literally have to like rock climb to get to there.
I think we're talking about the same place, but
We're not. We're definitely not.
okay.
Yeah, we're definitely not. Somebody on the live stream tell me which one I'm referring
But
to.
taking caves and turning them into churches, this seems to be a thing.
Pretty common.
Yeah.
And the way they painted them was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Another-
so it's in time of conflict. They use the tunnels.
Yep.
Yeah, go into the
There you go.
tunnels.
See, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Well, I told everybody yesterday when they laughed at the cities, I'm like, did you not all build bomb shelters in the 50s in your backyards? Like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I've seen
So the
them.
one that's interesting is the one in Cappadocia because it was built in the 8th century BC. So it would have been around. The apostles would have known of this. And it was lost until the 1960s when they were renovating their home and discovered an access to the tunnels.
Nice.
It was lost.
Our friend Matt Lorfeld, Pastor Matt Lorfeld, in his previous congregation, the parsonage had a bomb shelter in it that he
Okay.
used as a personal office. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we should start building these things again.
I'm just saying. Not a bad idea.
Having a cave,
A man cave, fallout shelter, whatever you want to call it.
a man cave.
You know? I feel like a lot of Lutheran church basements in the Midwest are like that.
Oh, yeah. Damp, mildew, and
Damp, mildewy, kind of like a bomb shelter. Kind of, no one really knows what the original purpose was for.
why did they do this? Not sure.
Yep.
All right.
So anyways, we're having fun today on the show if you didn't know.
Do you want to start off officially?
Yeah. So
Okay.
officially, we'll throw this on the end or something like that as our bonus clip. But this is the Banned Books Podcast, episode number 402.
Sure.
402. We are members of the 1517 Podcast Network. We are the basement dwellers of the podcast network. That's where we survive and function at. We're like the Morlocks, and we're happy to be here. And so, as always, we are your host, Christopher Gillespie.
Always chilling and willing, maxing, relaxing in the morning,
I'm
evening,
Don Riley.
afternoon, night, whenever we are.
Never any of those things. And that's why we go
You're never
together.
chilling.
We go together like peanut butter and chocolate.
Ooh.
That's my favorite, dude. Peanut butter
Oh.
and chocolate. Reese's.
Have you tried the I know you haven't. But it's what's the chocolate covered peanut butter things?
I don't know.
Reese's? No. Is that it?
Cadbury eggs?
No. No, the cups. Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, they make them with jelly in them now too.
Ew.
So it's peanut butter, jelly, and chocolate.
I doubt it. I doubt that's actual jelly.
Well-
No, I'm pretty sure that's not how jelly
No,
works.
I think it actually is like one of the brand names, you know?
I'm sure it is a brand name.
Smuckers or something.
Did you see that? I read this morning that a liquor company accidentally branded their
They got them
product as-
switched.
as
Yeah.
Celsius energy drinks, but they're actually vodka seltzers. I'm like, brilliant.
And then what was it? So many DUI criminal defense attorneys are gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got their
Yep.
their motion to dismiss.
There are 16-year-old boys right now with an entire closet of their bedroom that's filled with Celsius energy drinks. No, mom. No, mom. They just give me more energy. Stay out.
Instead of I got a buzz, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But we're going to revisit something today on the show to leave off with our Paulson episodes. Hope you enjoyed those. And so, kind of a palate cleanser, something old and something new, something borrowed, something blue. We're going to revisit a letter by old J.R.R. to his son Christopher. And this is from the 30th of January, 1945. We did read this on the show previously, but I wanted to revisit it because, well, we're in the dog days of summer now, and agriculture is a big deal for us in the upper Midwest. And it's been a really good growing season, but at the same time, we have a lot of natural, quote unquote, events happening in the United States and in other places right now: earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, flooding, tornadoes, all this stuff.
I mean, it's legit, I think, the tsunami, because that was like an 8.8.
Yeah, no, Russia is still the earthquake is still happening in Russia.
Well, the
today.
volcano went off.
And the volcano went off, which I'm positive is an attack. I'm positive. There's no way all these things happen
Well, you got the HARP
simultaneously.
things, right? But
Yes. Well,
what
Trump
was
did
it?
say you have one day.
Yeah, and it was who's the star Japanese pitcher for the Dodgers? I think.
Oh, right.
They said it was cramping, but a lot of people are like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
he's got family in Japan. I mean,
Yeah. So the whales are beaching themselves on purpose, which is not what you do during a tsunami. They
yeah,
go
I
to
read
deep
about
water.
this.
The sea lions beach themselves.
When
That's
this
not what they do.
happens, when that kind of fracturing
Yeah.
happens underwater,
Yeah,
it does release all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
it does. Like all the birds are not doing what you're supposed to, like they normally do.
Yeah,
Their
but
patterns,
that's frequency stuff.
and the waves themselves aren't patterned like tsunami waves. They're all churny.
So you,
and
so
they're
you think it's
chaotic.
irregular?
It's completely irregular. There's no way that all these things are happening simultaneously. Like this isn't a earthquake. This is like 148
Yeah,
earthquakes
it's
happening
a distraction
simultaneously.
of the week, probably.
Well, no, that's Sydney Sweeney being a Nazi for American Eagle.
I thought it was the spaceship.
Which, by the way, I don't do this often, but shout out to American Eagle for the proper response to the complaints they've been getting.
That can't be legit. That
No,
had
it
to
is.
been a satire.
Well, it's like the Wendy's Twitter account. You're like,
Mhm.
whoever runs your social media should get a raise every week because those
When they
people,
get into the insult wars with Burger
McDonald's
King
or Burger
something.
King, yeah. But
That's good.
no, good on American Eagle. And then also, Les Wexner is evil, and American Eagle should just admit what they're actually doing. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion, just my opinion. That does not reflect the opinions of this show and or others. But
blue jeans are good. They're very American.
they are very American. Levi Strauss, baby.
And blonde hair, blue eye. We talked about that.
That is America.
well, it's not just
It's Greco-Roman. It's
Yes,
historic. We
exactly,
talked about this.
exactly.
The myth of the blonde bombshell. Yep.
Yeah, it's not limited to one socialist culture.
No, it's not. That's right.
They picking up on it on an old trope
A very old trope, and apparently it works. So
every time.
every single time, exactly. Like Charlie Brown with the football every time.
It's like Brooke Shields. Yeah, okay.
And again,
she wasn't blonde though.
If you don't understand what hate marketing is, then you don't understand what American Eagle is doing right now.
Yeah, it's just the invert.
I mean, because everyone's talking about them.
Still
Like again, every time people
longer.
hate,
They got more traction out of that
Oh.
than the Coldplay concert.
100%, 100%. Disney does this with every one of their movies. They go for hate marketing on purpose because they know they're going to get more traction on social media with hate marketing and reactions than they will with positive.
And then
branding.
people come in and they're like, Snow White wasn't so bad after all.
Exactly.
And you're like, what?
Right.
I
Right.
didn't watch it, but yeah.
No, it's no. Like Fantastic Four was that way actually. A lot of people were they hate watching them like, well, actually, and Superman, same thing with Superman. They're like, 10 years
Most
ago,
people, yeah, you get the surprise reviews. Wow,
Right.
I was pleasantly surprised. It was better
right,
than I
that
thought.
it's a mediocre movie, not an awful
It was a mid
movie.
movie, but it was interesting on how
Right.
it dealt with this or that.
That's where we're at culturally, by the way, is that good movies are just
what would have
mid-level.
been mid 1990s is like
Yeah,
high cinema.
honest to God, it's like an abuse. It's like someone who's being abused that gets flowers. You're like, oh, he's not all bad.
When was the last time you watched a really good TV show? It's hard. It's hard to come up with one. There's plenty of mediocre.
They're all the old ones that we watch.
Right.
Oh no, I did. I actually, this is wild. I watched a Netflix show that was top tier.
Really.
Yeah, it's Eric Bana, and it's about a forest ranger solving a murder mystery. It was brilliant. It was
That's a
good
great.
character development. Everybody was fleshed out. There was no girl bossing. The woman was like a real woman with real problems. And obviously there's little plot devices to move the show forward. But I was like, it built slowly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the #1 show on Netflix right now. I'm like,
Really?
what's happening?
What's it called?
It's Eric Bana. I can't remember it's one word. It's like, I can't remember the name of
Let's
it.
look here.
I
We'll
was
look at the
sick, so I
top.
binge watched it all in one day. It's
Of
6
course you did.
episodes.
Of course you did.
I was sick, dude.
No, that's fine. That's what you do when you're sick. You
Yeah.
binge watch. It's either
But
that
yeah.
or Price is Right. I mean,
I can't. I don't. Drew Carey is not Bob Barker. Let's
no,
put it that way.
he is not Bob Barker.
And Barker's beauties are who they were. That's the whole reason we stayed
That's
home
too
sick in
bad.
the 80s.
That's too bad. It was a thing. It was a thing. All right. So top streaming charts. What'd you say? Oh, I don't.
Eric Bana.
I don't have Netflix on here. So sorry. I removed Netflix from
He
my
produced it too, which may have something to do with it. So it was more like a passion
list. All right,
project.
we'll add Netflix back in. All right. On Netflix, Conversations with the Killer, the son of Sam
That's
Peeves.
not it.
Sandman. No.
No, it's awful.
I know, I tried. WWE Unreal? No, that's not it. You said it was the top chart. Oh well. Maybe on your
They're
Netflix.
Untamed.
Untamed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it is possible.
Special agent for the National Park Service trying to solve the murder of a young
Oh,
woman.
I mean, this is straight ahead. Just write this well and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, this is rub my belly and give me a bowl of ice cream kind of.
Mystery thriller.
Yep, exactly.
Normal
No, it's
people.
great. Love it.
Yep.
It's great. And then there's a subplot that turns out to be the main plot, and you're like,
And who doesn't like the National Park Service?
wow, how intelligent is this? They treat that with actually pretty honest, actually, the dynamics and politics of running a national park. So,
7.2 on IMDb,
yeah.
91% on here. So,
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's great. I enjoyed it. If you like mystery suspense, I actually recommend it. It's a good show.
Okay. There you go.
So, anyways, back to Tolkien. So
Speaking
J.R.R.
of
wrote
mystery
this.
suspense.
That's right. Are you ever going to get to the point? If you've not if you listen to 400 episodes, maybe. The answer is always maybe. So Christopher Tolkien, then 1945, and we'll jump to the middle of this. This is again letter number, what did I say, 96, if you're reading on your Kindle.
Oh, wow.
And this is just he's answering a question from Christopher. And again, this is the end of the war, so there's a lot of that conversation.
I
as
like
a
the dot.
subtext.
So many ellipses. ...
I know. Obviously, AI wrote this.
It wasn't typed. I'm sure it was written by hand.
Yeah,
I don't think he typed.
I think Christopher edited all these, so
That's true. Maybe he leaves out details. Maybe that's what the ellipses are for.
could be.
Okay.
So as for Eden,
There
J.R.
we are.
writes, as for Eden, I think most Christians accept what's the V period mean? What is that in
Versus.
abbreviation? Versus simple and educated?
Maybe.
Very?
Visa? I don't know.
Very?
Something Latin.
I think, isn't there, at the front of the book, isn't there supposed to be an explanation of what the abbreviations mean? Isn't that pretty normal?
I don't know. I don't want to flip in the Kindle.
I'm doing it.
I mean,
Nope,
I can look.
there
here.
is not. Look it up on Grok. What's that stand for?
Okay.
I think most Christians accept the simple and uneducated, or those protected in other ways, have been rather bustled and hustled now for some generations by the self-styled scientists. That's right. We talked about Max Weber, Disenchantment, demagicking the world, that essay that I think he's responding to, or at least formed the background noise of a lot of the stuff that he wrote. For those who don't know, Tolkien was the Lorax, right? And in the sense of like Tolkien on many occasions talked about how he needs to speak for the trees because they can't speak for themselves. And that we need to save the trees because in England, of course, it's post-World War II, a lot of rebuilding going on, a lot of deforestation going on, rebuilding the economy, all that stuff.
V most commonly stands for very, especially in older or British style correspondence. For example, I was V. pleased. Why wouldn't you just write out very?
Right, exactly. It's two rather than four. Like
It can mean versus.
Okay.
Right? That's academic,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
And it can be for like Latinus.
Okay.
Can be for C, like used in citations.
Okay.
See
So
this,
except
see
for
that.
the very simple and uneducated, or those protected another way. I like how he refers to simple and uneducated people as being protected.
No,
or
it's two
those
different
who are
groups. Yeah.
It is, but I'm just saying he's like, or those protected in other ways.
Oh, that simple and uneducated people have a kind of protection?
yes.
Ah,
Yeah,
I see.
there's a backspin to that.
Yeah, yeah.
They have been rather bustled and hustled now for some generations by the self-styled scientists, and they have sort of tucked Genesis into a lumber room of their mind. Well, there you go. There's the allusion there.
Storage.
And also cutting down trees, as not very fashionable furniture. Genesis is not very fashionable furniture.
Needs
A
to
bit of,
be reused for other purposes.
right.
Hmm.
And so, not scientific and therefore mythological
Right.
in the modern sense. And so, a bit ashamed to have it about the house, don't you know? When the bright, clever young people called. I mean, of course, even the Fidelis, who did not sell it secondhand or burn it as soon as modern taste began to sneer. So he's comparing Genesis to trees.
What I also like about his letter style, I know this
Yeah.
is a side note, but I know he's writing to his son. He's not trying to impress his son. This is just how he writes.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it great?
It is. It's fantastic. I'm going to write a letter, and I'm sure it's thoughtful and it's intentional.
Right.
And it's not just like when we text somebody, you're
Mhm.
like, I don't know, whatever word it tells me to use next, I'll use.
Right. And again, for those who don't know, he was his books always sold well, but he was not necessarily the person we know today.
He wasn't self-confident.
Well, and also just publicly.
Oh,
Right.
right.
It was the hippies in the late 60s that discovered Tolkien that literally brought him back
Yeah.
on a level of popularity that he had not known before that.
This is similar to.
In fact, if it wasn't for the hippies, the Silmarillion would have never been printed.
It was just a few days ago. Was the 475th anniversary of Johann Sebastian Bach's death.
Mm,
And it's the same story with Mendelssohn.
Sure.
He does the St. Matthew Passion, and then, oh my, who's this Bach guy? And it's 100 years later.
Right.
And you're like, because we think of him as this towering figure.
People hated him.
Um,
The city council hated him.
well, they hated working with him, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
He was very difficult to work with
right. But
because he considered them to not be faithful Christians, actually.
but
That
it is
was-
something that he's composing for the church, so that's part of it. But
Yeah.
also, I don't know that you can actually understand the importance of your work in the moment anyway.
Right. Again, you're slave of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's writing stories for his children, right? He's telling
Yes.
them stories by their
Right.
bedside. He
Tolkien, not Bach.
Yeah, Tolkien. We're back to Tolkien. He's writing these things down, right? He's writing lots of things.
Yeah.
Because then he gets just consumed in fascination.
A whole
with,
barn full of things. he
right?
comes out.
Boxes and boxes and boxes
Yeah.
of stuff, stories, fragments of stories, these things
Yeah.
that Christopher puts together. And, and did he know it was a large volume of work? I suppose.
Yeah.
Did he think it was all worth keeping?
No.
I mean, it reminds us of Luther, right? Luther
Yeah.
says the same sort of thing.
Burn my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What's worth retaining? Of course, we have
Right.
Weimar Ausgabe, and we have so many things. We
Right.
have everything. We
I
didn't
mean,
lose anything.
For me, just personally, and if this helps others, I share it with you. But when I guess, was led to rediscover and thanks to friends of ours like Sam Schultheis and others who I converse with, Pastor Sam Schultheis, is like I came back to Tolkien through early medieval literature, actually, through Beowulf.
Yeah.
And through Sir Galahad and the Green Knight and so forth, and then rediscovered Tolkien. And I had never read his letters. I had read in high school and junior high. I fell in love with The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. That was kind of the end of it. I tried reading Silmarillion like 5 times.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the point? But then coming back to him as an adult, especially as a father, but also as someone who's passionate about writing, his philology, his love of language, his love for classical studies,
And story.
reignited that excitement in me. And he led me back to that time in my life in adolescence and kind of preteen years when I was that person. And then it got killed by adults throughout my life, especially the church, actually. I'm just going to be completely honest. Like the church killed my love of classical literature and folklore and myth and writing stories and telling stories and poetry.
Well, I mean, until pretty recently, like even to have like what do we call the list of commemorations, remembering the saints?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Feast of Saints, the calendar.
To even to have a calendar where you recognize,
Yeah.
like we were told that's Roman Catholic. I mean, I think
Right.
that's probably primarily. But
I'm
those-
actually, just this morning, to your point, I actually have discovered the pre-British conquest calendar of the saints,
oh, okay.
or pre-Saxon conquest. And so they had multiple calendars of feast days for the saints prior to the one that we know best.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's wild. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Because it's all Scottish, Welsh,
Who are these
Anglo-Saxon, and
people
Irish
even,
saints.
right? Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they were local saints. Like every area had saints.
Martyrology is the word I was looking
Yeah,
for.
there you go.
The
Thank you.
martyrology.
But what I took from Tolkien too is just write. Don't write for publication, just write. And because we have social media, it's much easier for us to publish the things we write, but don't judge your writing. Don't do that. Just write. And if you want to publish it, don't expect, return on your investment, so to speak, but just write to write.
That's for the editor later to
Yeah,
decide
again,
what's
that's
worth
for
keeping.
later people to decide whether it's worth saving. Whereas J.R.R. just went out and went, I'm just going to write stuff.
I mean, like if you wrote a hymn for your congregation, I'm
Yeah.
not a poet, I haven't done that,
Yeah,
but if you did, one of the things is maybe sing it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, you're right.
And if and then if they ask, can we sing that one again?
Yeah,
And I say, oh, okay, so that
Yeah.
one's worth.
right.
Otherwise, just write another one.
Right. Exactly. Don't let that kind of, I don't know what you want to call it nowadays. It's the fear of being rejected, maybe,
Well, and what
or
was
laughed at, or ignored, I guess.
one of the writing books I read, which I didn't put into practice, but I read it. I read the book about writing, which is great. Uh, Said it was called Killing Your Dandies.
Interesting.
Killing Your Dandies. So, I mean, that editing process, to not do that in the moment,
Right.
but then at some point you do. At some point you
Yeah.
go back and
Well,
say,
we do that with
that's
our
just
sermons, right?
that's not worth keeping.
You write the sermon, then you go back, hopefully.
That's a
and
fantastic paragraph, but
I'll edit my sermon, sometimes rewrite the entire sermon,
You do.
usually rewrite the entire thing, and then I'll get in the pulpit and preach it out loud to nobody, and then edit it while I'm talking, because it has to sound like natural speech, right? Ursula K. Le Guin, by the way, has a beautiful book on how to write. I love that book.
I don't
It
know
was
her
very
book.
influential on me.
Okay.
But if you like her Earthsea, trilogy,
yeah,
Ursula K. Le Guin is a great resource for that too. And
I read that multiple times as a young person.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
This is good storytelling.
Yeah, Dragon Riders of Pern,
Well, and just the fantastical nature of the world. building.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the golden age of fantasy. It was great, good stuff.
It was a thing.
But anyway, so
Tor and
Tolkien,
whoever,
if
yeah.
Tolkien gives us anything as a kind of side note to his life, is just write. Let your imagination flourish. Open that pathway up and just go. Whatever
even
you wanna,
to a letter to your son, right?
100%, exactly. And as you noted, then you'll just start writing and talking that way normally. It's not an affect. That's just the way he thinks and talks and sees the world, which is entirely influenced by his studies and his love for classic literature and languages. He
And
invents
his
languages.
friends, the people he's talking to.
The friends he's around, Barfield,
Mhm.
Lewis, and so on. And so, of course, even the fidelis, even the faithful ones, the priestly class, who did not sell it secondhand or burn it as soon as modern taste began to sneer, in consequence, they have indeed, myself as much as any, as you say, forgotten the beauty of the matter, even as a story, quote unquote. Even as a story, we've forgotten the beauty of Genesis.
Yeah. And
I-
this is
yeah.
something we lament because I think, I mean, which would you rather have your child be able to recite? We'll put it this way: the Ten Commandments or
Genesis.
or the story of creation.
Well, I know which ones my kids know by heart. It's
Right.
both,
right.
but
Well, I
no.
loved it when I was taking biblical Hebrew, right? And I just
Mm-hmm.
barely got through it. But translate Genesis 1. I'm like, oh, fantastic.
Exactly.
I like-
Thank you. Yes.
It's like I can do this. I can
Yeah,
do this
that's
in my
right.
sleep.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I know what all these words mean.
In fact, since February, I've translated Genesis 1 6 times. I think I just translated it again because I'm gonna. Did I
What do
share
you-
it with you?
I don't
We
know.
talked about it. I translated Genesis 1, John 1, Colossians 1, and Revelation 1. for
Oh, yeah,
people
you sent that
to
to
show that.
Right.
And I never stopped loving translating Genesis 1 and 2, and even 3 and 4, actually, and 12. But no, I've translated that 6 times, I think, since February, because every time I translate it, there's something new. Like I just said yesterday, abad, right? That means gardener, but it also means priest in the Levitical sense. And you realize like there's so much going on linguistically, but the language of the Hebrew and the Genesis creation account is so simple, like you said. Like,
Yeah. No, it's no problem.
even if you're just a really bad Hebrew student, you can nail that.
My point was I have it memorized in English, but
Yeah, but that too. But I'm just saying though that it's very rudimentary Hebrew,
yeah.
very simple. There's not a lot of choices as far as like
The
definitions go.
grammar's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
And but yet every single, and this is, I was telling somebody about this last night. I had a lot of meetings yesterday. So I said the thing is that pre-modern, well, non-English language is intended to paint word pictures. That's what it's for. Like every word is to paint a picture for you, because we think in images, we don't think in words.
Like running the race. that we
Right.
would
And
win,
so
you know.
literally, literarily, when you read Hebrew, Greek, Anglo-Saxon, ancient Irish, ancient Norse, whatever, old German, every word is supposed to paint a picture for you, not modern English, which is just for commerce, which is how much does this cost? $3.75. Here's $4. Give me a quarter and change. That doesn't mean anything. It has no
It
meaning.
doesn't have to be that way with English. I mean, we've read
That's the
some really
problem.
great prose
That's the problem,
in
though.
English.
That's the problem, though. We've been conditioned by modernity to think that language doesn't have to paint a picture. This is why translating
Oh,
poetry is so hard,
well, and this would be the critique of AI then,
for sure.
because it's so mechanical
Right. I
in its
did this last
language.
week as an experiment. I asked it to intuit parables. I tried to teach a chat
Yeah,
how to tell a parable.
that was after the show, I think,
Yeah,
right?
it was. It
Hmm.
failed. Every prompt I could write, it failed miserably. And it always came back to, here's a moral lesson. And I'm like, study Jesus' parables. I copy pasted Jesus' parables into chat. I'm like, study these, think deeply on these. I said, break them down for me. It did. Explain the method. It did. And I said, now replicate this by writing a brand new parable based on Jesus' parables. Brr. Every time it failed. It couldn't do it.
I
And I'm
just
like,
I asked it to do one on Austrian economics. I'm seeing what it's going to give me.
well,
Oh my gosh,
that,
you're right. It's just Aesop.
yeah, it can't. It
At the
can't.
end, trust the signals of the market, the knowledge of individuals, and the value of
Right.
spontaneous order over central planning.
Right. It can't. It can't intuit.
Gosh, it's
And
terrible.
then you realize, but this is what I learned from this then. Chat can't intuit. It can't actually tell you a parable, which means then that the parables themselves do not function on the level of logic or reason, and they don't function on that level. They function on the level of intuition and imagination, which is why no one understands a single thing he says when he preaches and teaches in parables,
Hmm.
because you can't logically reason your way through a parable. That's why AI can't do it, because AI cannot imagine. It can't intuit. This is why the disciples asked Jesus to explain the parables to them. And he goes, yeah, to you has been given the mysteries of the kingdom, which is the answer to AI, by the way. You don't understand the mysteries of the kingdom because you have no soul.
All right, so I'm telling it to use more mystery.
There we go. There we go.
We'll see. Maybe that's the prompt. I don't know.
So, anyways, what Tolkien is saying then while you do that is that Genesis is in the 1940s, then Genesis has become a kind of old growth forest that we really kind of want to cut down, make into attractive, fashionable furniture. And then when the young people come over, we say, I I mean, IKEA furniture is good too. I'm not saying that, this is better. In fact, kind of embarrassed to have it in my house now that I think about it. Versus he's saying, even as a story, we're embarrassed by it. The beauty of the story itself, we're embarrassed by. So he's saying we're even embarrassed to admit that the Genesis story is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, what I love how he describes it, like going into the lumber room,
Yeah.
right, which is a room with like
Dead
things to
logs.
be, yeah, to be used, to be created.
Yeah, it's all utility.
Yeah, and it's unfashionable furniture, so it's lost its utility,
Right.
right? And I mean, that's how we think of the scriptures
100%.
as
Yeah.
utilitarians.
You're like, is this made out of oak? No, that's pressed wood painted like oak. Oh, that's cool. It's cheaper though, right? Absolutely. Okay, I'll buy this.
Back in my speaker days, it was was it made out of medium
Yeah,
density fiberboard? And then
100%.
I saw a speaker advertised yesterday that's made of high density fiberboard. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, that's better.
Right. Exactly. 100%.
You're like, you know what
Yep.
fiberboard is?
I
It's
know.
pulp and
See,
plastic.
I'm trying to buy an instrument right now, and that's the same thing. I'm like, if it's not made out of the real wood, it has a different resonance.
Yeah, of course.
So they advertise it as being like teak. But then if you read down, it goes, this is actually a teak overlay over just pressed wood.
Yeah, it's what do they call that? Not overlay, veneer.
Veneer. Thank you. Yes, veneer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
veneer.
You're like, don't lie. Why are you lying to me? Well,
I
do you
want I
want to
want
pay
s-
$500 for this or $168?
right.
And I'm
You
like,
want solid
500.
teak? Yeah, solid teak.
I'm like, I want a $500 shruti. Give it to me. Like, that's the point. So yeah, but again, convenience. So Genesis isn't convenient and therefore it's not beautiful.
Well, and the other thing about, since we're going with the wood, uh, medium density fiberboard or whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
MDF, is predictable.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistent. It's predictable,
100%.
and that's what the machine wants.
Correct.
That's certainly what the economy wants.
Yes. Yeah,
Send us as
predictability.
many of those Mexican strats as you can,
Right.
right? And they're all terrible, but
Right.
they're because they have no personality,
Correct.
because there's no variation.
Right. Which then we believe, that's how we're programmed, is that we believe things are quote unquote stable and predictable because they're convenient.
Hmm.
And then when things fall apart culturally, familiarly, personally at your job, Like, how can this be happening? Why is this happening? Why is it falling apart? Because it's not built on anything that's actually intended to last, which
Well,
ultimately is Jesus.
and so to Genesis, I mean, I think some people would say, well, how is it possible for you to translate it 6 times?
Yeah.
Like, didn't you have like a translation and then you were done? Or like, no,
No.
it's living, breathing
Once
word.
it's living, exactly, and it
Mhm.
makes its home with you, and you treat it as an honored guest, like we talked about with stories,
Yeah,
or it will leave you.
right. So it's
And by
not
the
a,
way, you
it's,
cannot understand the entire Bible, let alone human history, without Genesis 1. Period.
somebody posted kind of a diagram of Revelation
Yeah.
as a chiastic structure
Yep.
with
Seen that
Revelation
before.
12
Yep.
as at the center.
Yep.
And then one of the comments I thought was helpful, and to say, well, but Revelation is chiastic with Genesis, right?
It is. Yeah.
Like they parallel, and the heart of
Yeah.
the scriptures, of
Right.
course, is the incarnation and the crucifixion.
The last two chapters of Genesis are the first two chapters, or the last two chapters of Revelation are the first two
Yeah,
chapters
so
of
the whole
Genesis.
scripture is chiastic, and you're like, it's
Yeah.
almost as if there was an intent.
I
It is
know.
structured.
Right.
I mean, this is our challenge with the Bible. We want it to be well ordered and structured, and it's also wild and crazy, right?
Right. Like a forest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I always tell people, look at the hollow behind my house. God calls that orderly. And we look at it and go, well, that's not orderly. It's not in right angles and it's not in straight lines. And it's like, that's why we put chapters and subheadings in the
In
Bibles.
fairness, Ezekiel, Revelation,
Yep.
describe the trees as being in a line.
Yes.
Okay. But
Yeah,
that's, of course, the Eden. Right.
That's, no. Let's not invert that. Yeah. Feed the simulation.
The trees are on either side of the river.
Yeah.
But it doesn't describe the river as being in a straight line.
Right. Well, that either,
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting that he's admitting Genesis is unfashionable. That's really what it comes down to.
In 1945.
And he says for generations now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at least since the Industrial Revolution.
Mm.
And so what has happened as a consequence? Well, they have indeed, myself as much as any, as you say, forgotten the beauty, as you say, Christopher. So he's saying, you said this to me and you got me.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, forgotten the beauty of the matter, even as a story. So Lewis recently wrote a most interesting essay. If published, I don't know. It's footnote
So I
4.
clicked on it, and then it takes me to probably the essay Myth Became Fact. Oh, yes. It's in God in the Dock.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Hold on a second. Got to make a note.
Yeah, it's in God in the Dock.
See, again, we've read this before, and I didn't notice that.
First published in World Dominion, September, October 1944. So there you
What's it called?
go. Myth Became Fact.
Okay.
Sam probably pointed this one out to me. So
Okay.
we've all had these conversations with our resident scholar.
Who is
And also-
publishing a book on the Catechism and using the Chronicles of Narnia to teach it. I think it comes out next year
Okay.
from 1517,
It's
so
a
watch out for that.
Monumental work. And probably has some deep cuts, not just the obvious, like...
No, it doesn't. I got to proofread it for him and talk to him about it while he was writing it, so it was fun.
Good, yeah.
Quite a privilege, actually, to see that.
Do you think,
happen.
this is just a side note, but I
Yeah.
think it's important. I mean, I think Narnia is underappreciated because it's not as...
It's
I
a
think it's
children's. It's children's.
It's children's literature.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's not as majestic
right.
or as mythological, perhaps.
Well,
as
we've talked about
Tolkien.
that Tolkien despised it. So,
Well, I know
'cause
that, and it's
he
hard
mixed
to...
up myth. Like Lewis played fast and loose with myth, and he relied on a lot of Victorian tropes, which Tolkien despised.
And I know that, I know that Lewis is maybe not as gifted in terms
Well, he's just
of
he's
prose.
writing to a different audience, though,
That's true, too.
and he's a different person.
Right. That's why I
Again,
say...
like I said, as a Protestant, Lewis could not go to the heart of medieval theology, and Tolkien knocks him for this a lot. He will not accept the Grail myth as the central point.
You're
of
missing some
all.
sacramentology, of course. Then.
Exactly, that's the point. Is that
Yeah.
Tolkien locates his entire premise for Tolkien of all of these stories is the chalice, the Grail myth. Lewis can't go there. He admits this in The Discarded Image. He cannot go there because he does not believe that it is actually the blood of Christ. And so he sees everything as a representation rather than as the thing it is itself.
Yeah.
And so he lacks
it ends up being framed more as good versus evil.
more spiritualized, more
moral
representative. Yeah, more metaphor.
Yeah, more metaphor.
Whereas Tolkien's like, no, this is real. This is real.
Yeah, that's the thing you get with Lord of the Rings. It's like, this could be us. This,
Well, Sam and I were
is
actually
this
just
us?
talking.
Is this
Sam,
actually like
Sam
some
and I
other
talked about
age?
this over the weekend. We were texting. I'm like, the thing about Tolkien when you read him is, you believe by the end this is all real. This all actually happened, even though you know it didn't. You're like, you know that whole thing about finding the Red Book in the basement in Oxford. when I read Tolkien, I'm like, I think maybe he's telling me the truth.
You know who's closer to Tolkien's tradition than is Stephen Lawhead. I don't know if you've read him,
I
but
know of him.
yeah. So he does sometimes trilogy, sometimes longer, but
Okay.
the ones on Robin of the Hood,
Mm,
but then his Grail story,
okay.
his Pendragon cycle is pretty good.
Oh, that's who you're. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he sets it in Wales, so
Yep.
he lives in England, even though
Yeah.
he's an
Yeah.
American. So he lives where he's writing about.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, but the one where he does the things with the ley lines and the time
Yep.
travel,
Yep.
and you're like ley lines are real. I mean that
Right.
you come to that conclusion. You're
Yeah.
like because of the way
Right.
he writes. He writes
Right.
it as if
Right.
so.
You can, by the way, if you go to England, you can go on tours of
Hmm.
the ley lines and all the sites that are built along the ley
Yeah,
lines
and the different
so on.
stones and
Yeah,
and
you know about
all the
Stonehenge, but there's a ton of those.
yeah, lots of markers.
Yeah, all the wells and the markers and the runic stones and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
When I was attempting to become a witch when in my younger years, I studied all that stuff. Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Druidism. Yeah. Folk magic. I was really deep into that stuff in my 20s. Funny how that coincided with my conversion.
So but I think it relates well to what he's talking about in the letter that Tolkien's talking about is that we don't you and I read the Bible as if it's true because
We believe it is. Yeah. But I
believe it
believe
is.
the entire Bible is true.
But it's also written as truth,
right.
which is
Again,
key.
it's not the same as a fact as moderns understand that word fact. Truth and fact are not exclusive.
Right, and especially with creation, like it's a sequence of. I mean, it's a story.
Yeah.
Is it a scientific textbook?
No, it's a myth.
Of course not. As if you needed a scientific textbook.
Right.
Like what?
Again, for those who don't pay attention, a myth is a story that communicates the truest truth in a way that's comprehensible. It is incomprehensible to us how God created everything by speaking it into being or singing it. And therefore he tells us
And was
a really
there water
awesome
before
story.
or after? Did he gather
Right.
the waters?
Right.
What is this void thing?
Right. And the answer is yes. This is the same problem, by the way, going back to what you said earlier. The problem that we have with the lives of the saints is that they're all true stories, but they're not factual.
Yeah.
And we don't understand that.
Like he
Like,
couldn't
what do
have
you
had
mean?
a dog head. I mean, seriously.
Right. Right. St. Christopher. Right.
Right.
And yet, symbolically, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Factually, he did not. But both are true simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, well, how did that monk live with a bear? Did he actually live with a bear? Yeah, he actually lived with a bear. Well, how is that possible? Well, according to tradition, the closer you are to the kingdom, the more comfortable animals are around you. Ergo, you're like, is that a fact? Well, like,
I've seen Russian videos.
Yeah, of
on
course.
social
Exactly.
media.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
love their bears.
bears, wolves, birds, you name it.
I saw the one. He's feeding them like from a dog food dish.
But rather than accept that we're so far away from the kingdom that we see that as a fantasy and repent and ask God to bring us closer to the kingdom, instead we go, well, that's not true. That's not real. And you're like, I watch videos of a monk that lives with wolves. The wolves come to the monk every day. And they're like, yeah, because he feeds them. Like, I grew up with wolves in the northern area of Minnesota. I know timber wolves. They don't just come because you want to feed them. That doesn't work that way.
No, they eat you, but yeah.
Well, they don't trust you. But
Right.
and the point is, they come to him, and he doesn't always feed them, but they're at peace with him. They live with him, right?
Well, the example of this is like the scavenging birds, like at
Yeah.
a theme park or something. And
Right.
you're like, these birds aren't behaving normally.
Right.
Well, no, they are because they know that
There's food.
yeah, there's food here and people will give it to them.
Right.
So we don't need to be afraid of them.
Right. Versus, why is this bird here? He's not feeding the birds. So why is this bird with him? Because he's close to the kingdom.
Yeah.
We read the book of Jubilees. But the point is,
Who is it? Francis? Is it Francis?
Yeah, Francis
with the
of
bird on his
Assisi.
shorts?
that too. Yeah.
Always has a bird with him.
Yeah. But and that's, by the way, that's not an exclusive story. We lift him up as if he's an exception to the rule, but that's a very common story in the Middle Ages and early medieval
That
story.
they talk to birds.
Well, that they not only talked with them, but they lived with all the animals.
Yeah, I mean we have what falcons and other kinds.
Yeah,
of,
that we force train them from children.
well, but like, how did they manage to do all the pigeon traffic? Right?
Yeah, we just train them. We force them.
Force.
But that's not voluntary. That's not communion. That's force.
You don't think it was?
No,
voluntary?
absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
You don't think the pigeons like doing that?
No,
Oh.
they're trained to do that. They're forced. They're, again, just
Why
programmed
does
to do
everything
that
have to be about violence?
because the kingdom of heaven will be taken by violence. Jesus does tell us. The point is, though, it's communion. It's not We train them to do it.
You don't
It's
think the bird
communion.
delights in obeying the people who
No,
have dominion over them?
they're not. That's not what dominion means in Hebrew.
I means I'm king and you're not. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly. Yeah, there's modernity in a nutshell. Let's
I'm the
mistranslate
Lord.
the yeah.
We're lords and ladies. You're not.
Let's mistranslate Hebrew and then just sell that to a generation of people. Speaking of what he's talking about, then.
Dominus,
So
it means Lord. That's what it
no,
means.
it doesn't. Lewis showing of what great value the story value was as mental nourishment of the whole chronicle story, New Testament especially. It was a defense of that kind of attitude, which we tend to sneer at. There we go. The faint-hearted that loses faith but clings at least to the beauty of the story as having some permanent value. We talk about this all the time with modern storytelling, right? We're going to
Yeah.
rewrite this.
Well, recently, probably a year ago now, that one of those famous radical atheists who's like, well, you know what I need? I think we need the Christian story. He's the English guy.
That's Dawkins.
It's
Yeah.
Dawkins, yeah. He's like, we need Christian morality because we need the Christian story so we have Christian morality.
I'm
because
sorry, that's not the Christian story.
Well, I know. I'm
That's-
telling you what he
Yeah,
says.
I know. I
It's
listened
exactly
to him
this.
say it. Yeah.
It's exactly this point. We need the story. It has permanent value, even though I don't believe it.
Yeah, Dawkins is on a repentance tour, basically, is what he's doing, confessing and repenting of the whole new atheist movement. Mostly because it's been infiltrated by feminists and it drives him crazy that intersectional politics is now a part of atheism. Yeah, he complains about this a lot.
What do they say about strange bedfellows, right?
Right, but I'm like, you're not right because you're adopting the Enlightenment view of Christianity, not the biblical view of Christianity, which is this is not a moral movement. But you're right about the story part.
Again, I'm going to refer to, I'll put it in the show notes, the episode on civility,
Right.
because that's exactly the move
Yeah,
that
of
Erasmus
course it
makes, is to say a
Read-
civil society just
Yeah.
needs Christian morality, even if they're not Christians.
Read the Lewis essay you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Right, myth as fact. Then go read On Monsters and Their Critics, and on fairy stories, and also read Chesterton on fairy tales. It's a very short essay.
They all
by-
talk about the moral move,
Yeah.
or moral turn.
They all talk about the turn.
Okay.
That's what the Victorian rewriting of myth and fairy tales was that move. Is that these are not truth stories; these are moral stories. That's what they're teaching us.
Is it? I mean,
And also, by the way, to refashion fairies, as into like the Tinkerbell character,
I know.
is the civility move. It literally is to make these
You're
things safe.
neutering the
You
character.
are.
Yeah.
Dragons are friendly. They're just misunderstood. Like, no, they're going to eat you. That's what they do. Because dragons, the devil.
You know, like the ones
monsters.
that live in the Nile, right?
Yeah. And so what happens is the Victorians literally took that history and went, we're going to change the truth into these little civil stories that don't scare children because we need to lie to them about what the truth is. So we'll just literally update these. Again, the Victorians were the moderns who said we're going to update these stories for modern audiences. And then the postmoderns took that from the Victorians and goes, well, we're going to update those for postmodern audiences. And so not only are the fairy tales now cute and civil, but now the bad guys in the fairy tales, they're actually the good guys. They're all misunderstood. They're all victims.
Yeah, this is Wicked or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. And so you see then the progression of the corruption of truth, so that when I say myth, people lose their minds because they think I mean fairy tale in the sense of not real, not true, versus again, if you understand myths and folk tales are the truest truths, which is why you tell the story and let it be and you don't moralize it. As soon as you moralize a story, as soon as you moralize Genesis, you've killed it. It's dead. It is no longer a living word. And I know this because the Pharisees do this to Jesus constantly, which is why he teaches in parables.
I think one thing that, at least that I would struggle with here, or push back maybe
Yeah.
a bit. I mean, morality isn't untrue, but it's not the whole truth.
It's downstream from the truth. It's a consequence of truth, right? And I'll
We should call it ethics, maybe.
no,
I don't.
because ethics is knowing what right and wrong is, but morality is acting on that.
Yeah, and
So
I am
I'll-
concerned about that.
So I'll put it practically. I know Jesus. Jesus knows me. Jesus enlightens me and says, "Hey, by the way, I died for you. I died for your sin. You're forgiven. Everything. I
Let
don't
me tell you about
remember it."
birds and trees and everything.
Yeah. So let me reveal how I work in all of creation. And then I look at all of creation in light of what Jesus revealed to me and go, can I go take care of that tree? He's like, that's what I made you for.
Yeah.
Now, is that moral? Yes. Is that a good thing to do? Yes, that's why it's moral. Do I do it because it's the moral thing? No.
So,
I'm not,
Oh,
I
so
don't,
this is your problem with dominion. It doesn't mean you can cut down
it
every
means
tree you
shepherd.
want.
It means
Yeah.
shepherd.
Yeah.
That's literally what the word means. It means to
Yeah.
shepherd, to
Yeah.
tend, to till. So I don't cheat on my wife because it's the moral thing to do. I don't cheat on my wife because I love her, because she's sacrificed for me. She has cared for me. She has tilled me and tended to me and been my helper. She is my strength.
I mean,
In
you
Hebrew, by the
live.
way, that word in Hebrew for helper literally means strength.
So I don't
So
want to.
therefore, I don't
Mm.
care for her and love her and don't cheat on her because it's the good thing to do. That's the original sin, actually, to know the difference between good and evil. Rather, I do it because I see Christ in her, because he's revealed himself. Whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me.
And quite literally, you've been joined together by Christ.
But only because it's been revealed that he's the one doing it.
Right.
So again, you can be a moral person and be married and not cheat on your wife and not be a Christian. But the only reason you're not cheating on your wife is because it's the right thing to do. And that's
Uh,
so far downstream from the truth.
yeah. I mean, this is the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Because we do see glimpses of what is good and beautiful amongst
Right.
those who don't
Correct.
believe
Right.
that it comes
But
from.
that's the hiddenness of God.
Hmm.
When Christ reveals himself through your wife to you, through the trees, through the people in your life, through all the things that he's made, you see everything as, oh, Jesus does this. Like, this is for me.
Right.
Like, he did this for me.
And it works in the negative too. Like
Oh,
Paul
of
saying,
course. Of
when Paul
course.
talks about coveting,
Right.
it's like, I didn't know what coveting was. I
Right.
mean, I kind of knew.
Right.
I
Well,
shouldn't.
I didn't know what it meant that all of creation fell in Adam until Jesus revealed
Yes.
to me my own fall.
And then everything I saw, I wanted
Is
that
death.
wasn't mine. Yeah, and it brings
Yeah.
death. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I see Babel now. I see death. I see the
We see
false
Babel
altars
everywhere.
everywhere,
Unfortunately.
right? To the point where it's annoying, actually.
Yeah.
But this is
It's like,
this is
you're doing
this
it
is
again, man.
this is a great point you bring up. Then it's a great point. It's probably one of the most relevant points to this. Is Jesus has to reveal himself to you and then reveal to you what he is doing, so that you understand the past and the future. Because forgiveness literally is everything that happened before, I forgive it. Everything that's going to happen in the future, I forgive it.
Hmm.
Everything, I am the book of life, and your name is inscribed with a nail and in blood, not ink. And so when you read the story, it's my story, not yours. And therefore, everything that you see now is Christ, or as you said, Antichrist.
Hmm.
And therefore, I don't want to kill things that Jesus made for me, for my good, and for my wife and for my neighbor. Instead, what I want to do is ask, how can I be a shepherd of creation? How can I be strength to my spouse or to my neighbor or to my congregation? And even in the midst of sin, then that is renewal. That is being regenesis, as he says in Titus chapter 3. Baptism regenesises you.
Hmm.
Romans chapter 6, verse 5, he regenesises you so that, yes, in the midst of sin, you can still say, I see paradise. That's my hope, by the way. And that's the story I'm going to tell.
One of the words that I don't know, I guess I found it offensive is this notion of invasive species.
Right. You mean medicinal plants.
Well, a lot of times, no, but we had like the Asian carp, that
Sure.
made its way
Yeah.
on ships.
Yep.
It's like, well, maybe they wouldn't have been here had we not had all these shipping lanes, right,
Right.
that run down the
Right.
St. Lawrence Seaway or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
The Japanese beetles that wiped out all of the hickory in Appalachia.
Well, we had the elm here too.
And the elm in the Midwest, and now the ash.
Elm borer, ash borer.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know how they got here? You brought them here.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it invasive? I guess by some definition.
Is it actually the Lord's doing? Well, ultimately, of course, it is. He
That's
gives
the
us
hard,
what he
that's
gives
the
you
hard
what you
part to
want.
say, right?
Yeah.
It's like no more elm trees for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think what we think of creation as being like this perfect homeostasis that never
Right.
changes.
It's not.
No, because we're never at homeostasis either. We'd like to be like content and satisfied.
Yeah, we're kind of obsessed with it.
We're kind of Well, I preached on this last night, with the rich young ruler,
Right.
and he's only thinking about the future, and Jesus is right in front of him, who is
Right.
the future, right?
Yeah,
Alpha
right.
and the Omega.
Yeah.
It's like you already have eternity. He's right here, and now you're
Yeah.
worried about inheriting eternal life, and you've
Right.
got Jesus, Like,
Right.
And he just said, "Follow me." How
Right.
fantastic! Just follow him. And he's
Right.
like, "Oh, but I'm rich."
Right.
How boring! I mean, it's such a boring sin, isn't it?
Even
'Cause it's so
atheists
common.
recognize that without hope, you can't plant a tree that's going to bear fruit in 6 generations. Because all you care about is what do you get from the tree now?
Yeah, we do not have long-term thinking.
Right.
What do you call it? Short time preference.
Yeah, yeah.
We have long time preference.
We see everything in terms of eternity, as you said.
And that might, right, but eternity is already promised. So,
Right.
like, what are you worried? And like, if the tree doesn't bear fruit in 6 generations, well, so what?
Why is that your problem?
There's this constant meme in the architecture circles about like, why can't we build these things anymore?
Yeah, right.
You're like, well, that cathedral took 120 years to build.
Right. Right.
So you had multiple generations of people.
But you also don't understand that their ethic was, while we're building this, God is ministering to us.
Yeah,
That's why
because they're hearing the bells and they're
the
attending.
whole thing. It's their vocation. It's their Christian vocation.
Mm-hmm.
And you're building God's house, and so take your time.
And you can commit your life to that.
100%, because you
life
know
work.
what you're doing is a godly work.
It's
Right.
You're like, well, it's a waste of money. That's what the Baptist people said on Twitter.
I said this on the last episode of 30 Minutes of the New Testament that I did on Titus with the boys over there, Dan and Eric, is Jesus says that there's only one who's good, God. Well, that means then that every time you see the word good work in the Bible,
it's God's work.
You can circle the word good and put God.
Mm-hmm.
Now go back and read about the fruits of the Spirit and the works of man's hands. And realize that when Paul calls you to do good works, he means God works.
But we take control of those things.
100%.
Those are our responsibility.
Right. Versus what is God's
doing.
work through me, which is what the fruit of the Spirit literally is. He produces fruit through you. Versus, well, what can I do with my hands? Everything you do with your hands is evil.
Yeah.
Because it's not God.
The formulators really try to thread the needle on this one.
They really do.
I'm not sure they're successful, but
Considering current debates.
On the third use of God's law, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, how about 2 uses and not worry about third? And let the Holy Spirit have the dominion over that, right? The stewardship of that.
Let him shepherd you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
And that is the conclusion they come to, but even by defining it in those categories, you're just like you want to use God's law, and it's like, nope, it uses you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He uses it upon you, and it's his word, not yours.
And so everything we just say in defense of that kind of attitude will be sneered at. More so now probably than 1945.
Yeah, I think so.
Why? Because the faint-hearted that loses faith but clings at least to the beauty of the story as having some permanent value. Again, that's what I mean, right? Is that even if Christ isn't revealing this to you and you're an atheist, you still recognize there's a beauty in quote-unquote doing, even if it's a utility, right? Do the right thing so that you don't disrupt the relationship or get fired from your job or hurt your community. Like, that's a good thing because that benefits you, right? And so even an atheist can read Genesis as a good story that's full of beauty and promise and teaches you, hey, maybe we should take better care of the environment. Wendell Berry went that direction.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of people like Ernst Junger, Wendell Berry, and others in the 50s who warned us about what was coming, Aldous Huxley, and they were absolutely right. And that's why no one reads them or remembers them, because they were right and everyone went, shut up.
Or weirdos like us, I guess.
Put food in your Tupperware, put it in the fridge and shut up. And like, you do realize that you're just choosing your own slavery and you're not consecrating the land. Again, even non-Christians realize this, which again, that's the hidden nature of God. Also, as I said before we move on, I believe, at least in our church tradition, we have done great violence to the first article by claiming that it's law and not gospel. We talked about this last week on last episode. I can only see creation as the Father's domain through Christ. He reveals the Father to us. So therefore, all of first creation, confession, and explanation is gospel. This is what he does for you. That's gospel. Not what you must do for him. He doesn't say you must find a good wife and provide good weather for your family. That's what the Satanists do. Like, we're going to control the weather. We got to make the world better. No, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker of the heavens and the earth. I can only confess that if Jesus reveals God to me as my Father. This is the Our Father in the explanation of the Lord's Prayer in the Catechism. He's our Father. We're his beloved children, so we can ask him for anything. That's gospel.
Yeah, I was going to preach on that, but I decided not to.
And I don't mean gospel in the sense of the forgiveness of sins. I mean gospel as in good news.
No, Jesus explains it that way. He says, which father of you, being evil, if your son asks for an egg, you give him a scorpion, or you ask for bread, you give him a rock.
Exactly. Great example.
Right. And it's like, is that good news? Yeah. No, it's actually Father just being Father. Right. Which I guess is good news to us since we don't always 100%. Have that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So the very fact that you can see creation as being the domain of the Logos, the Christos, is itself good news. Because he opens up the entirety of creation and goes, I did this for you.
I think that's important to describe it in terms of Logos, word. Less so, distinguishing law and gospel there.
Yeah.
Um, is it less theological? No, but there's
I think
there's
it's a
some
deeper thing.
yeah,
It's
it's something
deeper,
more expansive, right?
right?
Yeah.
Christos would be law, gospel, forgiveness of sin, sacrament talk.
Hmm.
Logos is, see that tree over there? Yeah, Jesus made that. Not only did Jesus make that, but he continues to care for it because he loves it, because he made it.
Just as he cares for you and loves
And he
you.
made it for you for your
Mhm.
salvation. What? Well, that's what he says. Everything is bent towards your salvation.
That part is hard.
It is because we're so materialistic and modern.
Yeah.
But again, go back and read the old guys. They get this. A lot of the people that wrote the Nicene Creed.
I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a rationalist, but I'm like, a tree's not going to convert you. But
Really? Well, again, you should read Tolkien more. Good times.
that's okay. As long as we play
I
both
forgive you.
sides, we won't offend everybody.
There we go.
We'll just
You can be.
no, we
you can
will
be-
offend everybody. There we go.
What was that? What was that old point counterpoint show that they used to have on
Mhm.
all the time?
Right.
Crosstalk. Was that what the name of it was?
That's okay. I mean, we can agree to disagree, right? We're civil people.
I mean, you can be wrong and I can be right, and that's fine.
Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah.
No, I just reject the rationalist viewpoint as being half of a whole. That's all.
This is the problem with extensive systematic training.
There's that fact too. That's
It's
right.
almost mechanical. Things have to behave.
I'm a church historian, so I'm the story guy actually by training.
Yeah.
Tell me the story. I don't care how many pints. it
We
was.
represent all four schools of theology.
There we go. We're a whole person. That's horrifying.
To-
I did apologize to your wife, by the way.
I am
When we were leaving, I go, I'm so sorry that you had to live with both of us for the weekend. I know one is hard enough, but to have two at the table is
Yeah,
gotta
but
be
it's moderated through Annie, so that's
vexing. That is true, actually. She is good at that.
good. Hmm.
Yeah, she's Marshall McLuhan. She's the moderator.
Especially when we're both tired and it's been a long
What
day.
was the name of
Yeah.
that show back in the 80s and 90s and 70s where they would have like the political point counterpoint and then the guy with the glasses and white hair like,
Oh, it's what's his name? McLaughlin Report or something.
oh, the McLaughlin report. Yeah, and McLaughlin would be like, what do you say to that? And then he'd
it was, yeah, it was
know.
on PBS.
And it was all about civility, actually, right?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have civil discourse about politics. Yet yeah, that was good times. Good times. It was a defense of that kind of attitude, which we tend to sneer at. The faint-hearted loses faith, but clings at least to the story, its beauty. That at least that has permanent value. His point, which by the way is the Lorax. If you want to like grind this down to a practical example, the original book, not the terrible movie, but like Seuss basically sums up Genesis in the Lorax or the Giving Tree, for example, which is more religious. But you can see they're like, no, Genesis is beautiful. We're just going to take away all the God stuff,
Right.
and it was a bestseller in the 70s when we were into this kind of thing. Which, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it, like Earth Day and the Lorax and the environmental movement of the 70s really was, let's strip Genesis of all of its actual myth in the sense of God and the divine creation and
Yeah,
what it
it's
was mean.
liturgical character.
Yeah, liturgical character. We'll just strip it of all that and just, isn't creation beautiful and shouldn't we take better care of it? And everyone, yeah, we should.
And then call it Mother Earth.
Yeah, and call it Mother Earth. Exactly. There we go. See, feminize it yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, they got it in the 70s. They were there. They missed Tolkien's point, but they got it. And so his point then was that they do still in that way get some nourishment and are not cut off wholly from the sap of life. For the beauty of the story, while not necessarily a guarantee of its truth, is a concomitant of it. And the fidelis is meant to draw nourishment from the beauty as well as from the truth. Well, there you go.
The
See,
faithful. The
as a
faithful.
rationalist, you can draw something from
Well,
the
it's both.
beauty of
It
it,
is beautiful and it's true.
and I'll draw something from the truth of it. And the two make a whole. So that the faint heart admirer, quote unquote, is really still getting something, which even one of the faithful, stupid, insensitive, and shamefaced.
He has a high view of his fellow Christians right there.
But we're all actually thinking, but what we don't say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, even one of the faithful, stupid, insensitive, and shamefaced may be missing. Awesome. But partly as a development, that's for making him sit in the corner with the Jewish faculty in the lunchroom at Oxford.
Yeah, I don't know if he's referring to his Roman Catholic friends or his
I don't
Anglican
think so
friends.
either,
This is
but-
Church of England friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But partly as a development of my own thought on my lines and work, technical and literary. Partly in contrast with CSL. Contact, I'm sorry, partly in contact with Lewis. And in various ways, not least the firm guiding hand of Alma Mater Ecclesia, beloved mother, the church. I do not now feel either ashamed or dubious on the quote-unquote Eden myth. quote, around myth, because again, he knows. It
Mhm.
has not, of course, historicity of the same kind as the New Testament, which are virtually contemporary documents, while Genesis is separated by we do not know how many sad exiled generations from the fall. But certainly there was an Eden on the very unhappy earth. Hmm, that's profound.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get this character pre-flood, post-flood,
Right.
right? Before the flood, I mean, the character, just the literary character of Genesis, it does shift.
So this goes back. I talked about this with you, I think pre-Easter when I started translating Genesis all the way
Mm.
through, but just the wave cap. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Oh
then
yeah, I
jump
remember this.
forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, when you translate Genesis 1 and 2, it's like crazy cosmic mythic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Genesis 3 all of a sudden becomes this tragic story. Like it's tragedy. And the language
It's much more
changes.
narrative. Yeah.
It is, and it changed the language even changes radically. Like there's no more cosmicness to it. There's a hint of it in the way that God comes and talks.
But there, well, you have that fracturing of heaven and earth.
And then by the time you get to translating Genesis 4, it's gone. Like any of the language of Genesis 1 and 2 is just gone by Genesis
It
4.
becomes very earthly.
It's very earthy. It's very much like like a Shakespearean tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very direct. Then this, then kind of like Mark, right? And then this happened, and this happened.
So that brings some interesting element then to Babel.
Yeah.
The attempt to reintegrate the
Yeah.
heavenly without
Right.
without the divine, without
Right.
God.
Yeah, it's ground up rather than cosmos down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I actually got depressed when I was translating it
Yeah.
because I came off
You
this
did give
high.
up, didn't you?
I did stop for a couple weeks actually.
Yeah, you
and
gave up
before I moved on
translating.
to in Noah and the Flood.
Mm-hmm.
And even Noah and the Flood isn't cosmic.
You don't
It's
think so?
it's not the language when you're translating it, it's not. Like the translation process, like from a literary standpoint, it's not cosmic. It is very much like Genesis 4, like this
It's-
happened because of
It's
this.
Genesis 4, but on an even larger scale.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Catastrophic.
exactly.
It's catastrophic, not cosmic.
It's the brothers, but on a global scale, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And no, I got super depressed because you come off the high of Genesis 1 and 2, and it's liturgical and it's poetic and it's cosmic, and stars are just being chucked out into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And the waters, he's just pulling stuff out of the waters and being like, fly, live, grow. And you're like, what is happening? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you get to 4, and it's like literally like a film noir, like murder mystery kind of thing. Like, did you do it?
It's not
I
much
didn't do it.
mystery, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, though. It's like that just rapid pace, like clip dialogue, especially when you get to the interaction after Abel's murder. Cain talking to God and God talking to Cain is like sentence, 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 sentence. It's
Yeah,
just,
there's a time compression there.
there is. It's so distilled.
Because that
And
may have been decades.
it could have been,
of
but
building
it's,
hatred. And,
it's so like rapid fire, and it has none of the mystery. It has none of the cosmic weight and wonder of Genesis 1 and 2. And it's just so depressing because, like, even from a literary standpoint, you realize, like, oh, that's over.
yeah.
Like whatever that was is gone. And you realize, oh, this is what we lost. We lost that, the wonder, the mystery of it, the just sitting with it and going like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're like, nope, can't do that anymore.
But
It's
you
got-
also, you're not going to sit with Genesis 4.
you can't. No,
Yeah.
you can't because it's all blood and murder and dirt.
And the difference is we don't know Genesis 1 and 2. We
Yeah.
know Genesis 4.
We can dream.
We know
of it.
3 and 4 a
Yeah,
little.
we can dream of it, but 3 and 4 are pretty familiar.
Yeah.
And then you come to the actual liturgy on Sunday morning, and we're trying to capture that, but we can't.
Oh, Eden.
Yeah,
I saw
just a confession of it, even.
there's a doctor I follow. He lives in El Salvador now, up in the mountains, because he's big into light, no EM.
Yeah, right,
know.
right.
And he can. He's got the money. But he calls it GOE, so he calls it Garden of Eden, biological. He's just trying to take the garden as like a biological
Right.
goal or
Yeah,
something
right.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to be at his level of wealth to fully live circadian, style.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not, and plus if you're in around the equator, it is probably a lot more consistent. Like we actually would need to hibernate for
Right,
the
exactly.
winter, right?
That's right.
We're sleeping 10 hours because it's so dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because he kept abbreviating it GOE, and I'm like, what is he talking GOE? What's GOE? I don't know this medical term. No, it's
Interesting.
Garden of Eden,
Oh.
and it's a little idyllic.
Well, in the sense that you had to buy it,
He
kind of
did.
is a hint.
Well, he had to flee the state. I mean, he still has to pay income tax because he's a U.S. citizen, but he
There you
lives
go.
somewhere else.
Okay.
It's, but he wants to live.
Yeah.
And for him, that means I'm going to integrate my life with the sun
Mm-hmm.
and with the water and with the
Right.
earth and with the
Right.
green growing
Yeah, he's
things.
tried to get to communion without Christ.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he is a Christian. I can't tell.
Either way,
He hasn't spoken of it.
it does go to Tolkien's point, though, about you can recognize the beauty of the story,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a danger in trying to repristinate things that are unavailable to us. That's
Well,
actually what he's doing is what Adam and Eve do at the tree, which is to take it.
and that's why I tell the story to kind of push back on what you said, because people expect the church to become Eden.
Yeah.
They expect to come into it and be a well-ordered garden
Mm-hmm.
where there's life flourishing and there's love and there's like a harmony and a
And
symbiosis
there is,
in Jesus.
but only in Christ. Right.
And mixed in with that
Is
is still the works of the flesh.
well,
and
there's us. Yeah, we mess
there's
it up.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus goes, look at this pristine pool of water, and we step in it and stomp all over and make it muddy.
So the only thing that makes it Edenic is the mercy of Christ.
It's the revelation, like I
The
said.
continuous,
It's only the revelation of Christ
ongoing, regular, consistently.
that says, I did this. And you're like, praise be to you. Oh, by the way, what's up with the ash beetles? It's like, well, you still live in a fallen world, my friend. And you're like, so what's the purpose of the ash beetles? To repent you.
Yeah.
So again, don't worship the tree. Don't worship the world. Worship me. And by the way, if you want to worship at your altar that you build next to this tree, go for it. As long as you're not worshiping the tree. This
Or
is
build
what
it
the-
out of the tree.
Or God forbid. I mean, if the tree dies, fine, but don't chop down a tree to build an altar. That's why he says pile up rocks.
We're gonna be pushing back and forth on this one for a while.
But this is the point. This is why so many Druids were so easily converted to Christianity. Because they just went, I know you think that the oak tree is the door, but the door is Christ. And oh, by the way, he's also the tree.
I prefer stone altars personally. So
No, there you go. Good for
few
you.
of the stone.
But the point is that they were able to walk in and go, everything you're doing is taking you to the threshold of the truth. So let me fill out the rest of the story for you. The truth is Jesus, the tree is Jesus, the door is Jesus, and what you're actually striving to be as a priest, because that's what the Druids were, is you want to be a priest of this, not the tree, but the one behind the tree,
Or the elemental spirits or something.
or whatever, or the person that's in the tree, the goddess of the tree, or the banshee, or whatever.
Right.
But you can serve that God, and there's no secret. You don't have to look through the tree. He is the tree. He is the tree of life. He is the door. He says this of himself.
It's
So
immediate rather
it
than
was literally
intermediate.
a step to the right for the Druids to just become Catholic priests, and they did. And we don't have that anymore. We've lost that conversation because we don't share that worldview. So we can't just go up to pagans or non-believers and go, hey man, you're one step from the kingdom.
I think, there is a flip
Not in
side
that
to this
sense.
too, is that the more, it's fairly,
Broadly. Yeah.
I don't know how common it is, but to step away, you said to step to the right. You
Yeah.
can step back out too.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's what we see with,
Or actually, as Luther would say, we want to go down and in. We want to go deeper down and in. We want to take the Jonah journey.
right. But I'm thinking about, the kind of mystic,
Yeah.
pseudo-religious, well, it's religious, but not faith in Christ. It's not hard to become, even a Satanist, you're like, it's just one little twist. It's
Right.
not,
You're almost there. You're almost there.
it's not a huge change.
Right.
And those people came out of, a more Catholic sensibility.
So I'll read this since it kind of contributes to this thing that
Okay.
Tolkien's saying. This is from a friend of mine on Substack. Her name's Laura. What's Laura's name?
Hello, Laura.
She's great. She's a Roman Catholic writer. Says many people see mysticism as a sort of branch or tangent of Christianity. But I think that's backwards. Christianity is fundamentally mystical, that is, mystery based. Everything else is a tangent from that.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah. And again, within the Roman Catholic tradition, she's calling out Roman Catholics for abandoning mystery themselves and becoming too rational, too materialistic in their interpretation
Yeah,
of
because
mystery.
that's the other move, is to abandon mystery, and rather than becoming like just a pagan without Christ,
Right.
you become just
Right.
whatever this like generic moral, like civil society kind of
Social
person is.
justice-y.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
right. And that by the way, in that podcast I shared, they did come to that. Is that what we know of as liberalism today is the natural growth of
Right.
this attempt to be civil without a faith that
100%.
undergirds it, that grounds
Right.
it down.
But as I said yesterday to someone that I had a meeting with, if you don't have the first commandment, why do you care if you murder somebody? As long as you get away with it. There's no judgment
No.
other than from the state if you get caught. So don't get caught. But there's nothing to stop you from committing adultery if there's no
Maybe
God.
from friends or family.
Maybe. But I'm just saying, big picture, morality-wise, ethically, like if there's no God, then why not cheat on your wife or your husband? What's the point? I mean, who cares?
Well, I could tell you.
There's social consequence,
Yeah.
but again, there's no ultimate consequence because there's no
No.
God.
Well, this is why so much of our literature,
And this is why
film,
you have people saying things
Yeah.
like, well, that's just a cultural construct.
Mhm.
Like, again, monogamy is a cultural construct. Gender roles are cultural constructs. What is that? That's just life without God. That's explaining away the law.
I mean, there is a cult, but we believe it's revealed and
Right.
given, you
Right.
know, rather than just a kind of a natural growth of people trying to find a way
Right.
to live together or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the law written on the heart,
Hmm.
which is what Paul describes. Where does he
Right.
get that from, by the way?
What's that?
What's the Old Testament precedent for that statement in Romans 1?
What that is written on our hearts?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Malachi?
Yeah. I mean, it's prophetic, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I will no longer write them on tablets of stone, but I will write that into the hearts
No, but I mean, the
of the
challenge there is,
Gentiles.
okay, it's written on your heart, but does it actually affect your conscience?
Of course it does. That's Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm going to kill somebody to prove that the conscience is a social
Well,
construct.
you were just saying, well, we'll just murder because if there's no
Yeah.
God, what? Well,
Right.
you still have a conscience.
Well, it doesn't matter because there's a living God and he'll prevent you from doing these things.
And there's also the fact that you can lie to your conscience, to yourself.
Of course you do every day.
Mhm.
That's called programming.
That's also how, it's a, not
That's
a
what
soft
propaganda,
way.
literally propaganda is that.
It's a salve for the conscience.
Of course.
It doesn't heal it, but it does make
Again,
it feel better anyway.
If there is no God, and I mean a living God, I don't mean gods that you construct.
Sure.
Because the gods you make are all in favor of war, for example. Like the gods we make love war, they bless war, because we love making war. Why? Because we're going to murder. We're just going to make up a better name for murder, right? Even though the original translation is don't spill
We'll
blood.
even put a prefix on it called just.
That's right. Just war.
It's just war.
And so
it's only war. It's whatever.
ultimately, it's not Raskolnikov's conscience that convicts him.
Mhm.
It's God.
Yeah.
Not the downstream consequence of a living God saying don't do this, but God himself intervenes through the prostitute in this case.
Because the heart
who
is
is a
given by
Christian.
God. The conscience is...
And it's the
yeah.
prostitute who's a Christian that reveals to Raskolnikov there is a Christ. He is a living God. This isn't an idea. This isn't a social construct to keep you from disobeying. And oh, by the way, since my father is the one who prostitutes me to support his drinking habit, I don't have any reason to believe that Jesus Christ is the real God or that my suffering is actually a gift and that through my suffering, my father can be saved. And I pray for him while men are abusing my body for money, even though they despise my father. They curse my father for what he does to me. And yet then you use me for the whole purpose of supporting my father's drinking habit. So you're even worse than my father.
Yeah.
And Dostoevsky is playing with this because he was an inveterate drunk and gambler who was converted, who was in jail and early in life and went through these experiences. And he's asking the question because everyone around him is saying, listen, man, the old Russian God that we all accepted as kids, that's all just childish stuff, man. That's
Right.
all just pre-Enlightenment superstitious nonsense. And Dostoevsky is saying, yeah, but I believe Jesus Christ is God and man and he died for my sins. That's not an idea.
No.
That's a conviction.
Right.
And so through murdering the woman, the old lady, Raskolnikov is convicted, but we can't reduce it to the level of, well, it's because he has a conscience. No, no. The conscience is a consequence of there being a living God who works through the law to effect repentance,
There
even
you
if
go.
it's hidden.
Yeah.
Even in,
Whether
like,
they know it or not.
exactly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like Luther in his Genesis commentary says, if the church doesn't pray, there's no wall holding back God's wrath. Like the church, this is what's so paradoxical, and he says this is crazy. The church actually prevents Jesus from coming back in judgment so that he might save more
Because the prayer is in Christ.
because the prayer is in Christ. And so God listens to us and says, I will delay judgment for the sake of your prayers.
This is like Abraham interceding for Lot. You know.
Just five.
Yeah.
And so the thing it's so crazy is that in the church we pray for judgment to come while simultaneously preventing the judgment by praying in Christ. Delay, there's still more to be saved. Delay. And then we go out into the streets of Sodom and Gomorrah and the people demand that we give them the angels to abuse and deprave ways. And so we as Christians can't see that on this cosmic mythological level, this truest of all truths, highest truth level, because we literally only want to deal with the fringe edge consequences, like morality.
Right.
It's like, but why are we talking about morality when that's downstream from, do we have a living God who says you will not spill blood? I don't need to talk about morality because God said don't kill things. So guess what? I'm not gonna. And I'm gonna repent of it when I do.
Yeah.
Again, I don't do the right thing because it's the right thing. I do what Christ wants me to do because he has saved me. And I don't need to be told anymore the difference between good and bad. That's the original sin, by the way. I do the right thing because Jesus is ministering to me through the person that I most hate in this world. If it's just a matter of right and wrong conscience, I pray to God Bill Gates dies of leprosy and it's horrible and all of his evil is exposed and everyone sees who he is and rebels and tears down everything he's built so that we can do it again with the next person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus I pray to God that
vengeance is mine, declares Donovan Riley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we know that's just blood feud upon blood feud.
Mm-hmm.
What I pray for every day is that this supervillain is converted and comes out and says, you know what? Everything I did was evil. Everything I did was selfish. Everything I did was for myself. And now that I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, I repent of all of it. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life changing the world to serve Christ.
Yeah.
That's what you want, isn't it? Don't you want Bill Gates to build churches and start actual charities that don't kill people and devote his life to, and maybe, you know what he does? He sells everything and actually moves into a monastery.
Right.
And disappears.
This is why we loved the Hulk Hogan story.
100%.
Because, the arc.
And Ozzy and Russell Brand and all these others.
Right. Because they are redemption stories.
Right.
And
you pray to God they're real.
Yeah. And we pray they're real.
And they're not a, I just want
another
to get
con.
out.
Another more kayfabe, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, as a side note, the whole Russell Brand thing, he's got to go to court for the R word that happened over a decade ago and just now has come out since he's converted.
Oh, they hate him. They hate him.
But now people started to come forward and say, I got a phone call that they wanted me to testify and say he did this to me. Mm-hmm. And Blair White, who's like, I wasn't even a woman at the time that this happened, but you want me to say he did that to me as a woman. And then others have come out and said the same thing. And they're like,
there's something, strangeness afoot there.
Well, that's, what do we call that? Lawfare, right? That the state uses the law to basically destroy you.
Right. And there's
obviously
some bad actors. Candace would be one.
Yes, of course.
And that will be used as an excuse to...
Yes, it will.
Anybody
they did it to Snowden. They did it to Assange. They always do it, and yet we don't see it when it's happening right in front of our face.
It's the wrap-up.
Of course it is. Yep.
See who else that we can entangle in this.
Exactly. How dare you?
Right.
Right. And to serve it as an example, don't mess with the elites. It's the Hunger Games. Like, we'll take our sacrifice, and you just, play your part. Again, once you understand that the Hunger Games is literally an exposition of, like, there's us, we're the peasants, and then the Hunger Games is the celebrities, the fake actors, the puppets, and the elite. You're like, no, that is actually the society in which we live in right now. That is the. But it's always been that way.
I thought it was actually a pretty good parable.
Yeah.
I mean, the books got a little repetitive. But
yeah. But at least the first couple books, like the first two.
Right.
Yeah.
The third, it's like, okay,
we got it. Yeah. You're out of ideas.
Well, yeah, you just keep making it stronger. But the point being, it is contemporary. It does bear some resemblance to January 6th would be that way.
Sure. October 7th.
October 7th would be that way.
9/11.
I think even George Floyd.
Yeah, that too.
Obviously. Race riots are that way.
Yep.
It's like, you're participating in something that isn't true.
Right.
But
like I've said a million times, we actually have the writings of the Egyptians that use this against their own people. And you're like, back in the day. And you're like, so the pharaohs did this too? You're like, so this is like what we've always done?
Well, no, it's in the Gospels.
Yeah.
Every year we release somebody on the Passover.
Correct.
You're like,
great.
Oh, that's very performative. Okay.
Right.
Well,
by the way, if you want to understand this, read the Silmarillion.
Oh, yeah?
Because Tolkien covers this in the Silmarillion with Morgoth and Sauron and all of the stuff. The dragons and the destruction of the two trees and on and on.
Well, isn't it a kind of mimetic desire?
It is. Well, to quote J.R.R, it would be a mimetic event.
I know I'm applying J.R.R post-talk.
I know, I got you. Yeah. No, it's fine. But Tolkien latches onto this from, again, classical literature and mythology. He's like, oh, this has always been this way. This is why when he writes, he's so prophetic. He's not prophetic. He's just a good historian.
Yeah.
And he goes, wait a minute. When this happens enough times, you have to pay attention and go, Oh, it's just what they do. This
Yeah,
is just the way the world works.
this is
So,
why we love the Book of Judges,
yeah.
because it's so mimetic, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, and they did it again, and they did it again,
Right. Just
and they
what? Again,
repented to,
the Book of Judges is
and Kings,
Shane
for that
or
matter.
Once Upon a Time in the West. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
our friend Eric says, right? It's like a Western. It
It
really
is.
is. And the reason I bring all this up then is to say, to Tolkien's point and to what we're talking about, we can dream of Eden. We can see Eden through Christ in faith, but you cannot get there this side
Glass
of the
darkly,
resurrection.
mirror dimly, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through a stained glass window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so 100% in the liturgy, 100% when you walk outside into nature, into the forest, you can then say, this is a vision. This is a glass darkly. This is a stained glass version of paradise. But as soon as I take a hold of this and try and repristinate it, it's going to die. I'm going to kill it.
And that's my issue with, like, the whole touch grass. I love touch grass. I think it's great, right? Go
I
out,
do it every day.
yeah, do it. But it's not a one-for-one mechanical kind of relationship.
It is literally a crumb from the master's table.
Yeah. And
By the way,
does
yeah.
it work?
Yeah, of course it does.
Well, yeah, but to what degree? I mean,
Does it rejuvenate? Yes. Does it heal? Yes. Does it give you eternal life? No.
my point was always every time, right? And that would be eternal
For me,
life.
it does.
Okay.
But in a
mostly.
human sense, in a physical sense,
Yeah.
in an emotional sense,
Yeah.
not as Nagel says, right? In a small s spiritual sense, it renews my spirit. In a big S spiritual sense, the Holy Spirit works through that, but he works through that to lead me back to the gospel.
Yeah. And it always strikes me now that I think about it that, the desire to vacation or for respite,
Is that
it's often to that sort of place.
it is?
The beach, the
Yeah.
forest,
I just feel
the
reinvigorated,
lake.
which means re-energized to be in air.
Because we have lake people here, right? They
Yeah,
come,
right,
They
right.
come up from Chicago. They
yeah, yeah.
live in pavement
The
land.
air just feels clearer and cleaner up here, and the
Mhm.
water is just so much nicer. And you're like, yeah, it is.
Actually.
It is. It actually is that. But again, it's still, it's the best we can do. Compared to 100 years ago, it would have been even better. Compared to a pre-industrial
Yeah, but
revolution,
they
would have been
didn't
even
have
better.
electricity and running water in the cabin then.
Right. But I'm saying though, every generation
Right.
is downstream from it used to be better. And the reason is because it literally used to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always just getting less and less of the original thing until finally there's nothing left of it.
Well, and I think that's is it
This is
terrifying?
Well, this is why, again, if I can go back to it, the Lorax, at the end of the Lorax is a shoot. One
Yeah.
shoot grows out of a stump.
Right.
And as a Christian, you're like, ah. But to a normal person, they're like, oh, so what you're saying is that there's still hope for regrowth, even in the midst of all this deforestation and logging and industrialization.
And I'm more of a circular history kind of person anyway. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you'll plant, you'll grow new trees, then you'll cut them all down again.
Right.
It happened before, it'll happen again.
Right. Versus as a Christian, you're like, oh, that's Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That ultimately the only tree that has any rootedness is Christ.
You know who we haven't done any? Have we done any Dr. Seuss stuff? I don't think so. We have
Not
on here.
really.
No. He's got
He's
an
a great
interesting-
character study because he was a bad person who wrote great books.
and also very much into propaganda.
He
the
wrote
art of
propaganda. He drew propaganda.
Yeah,
in
for
World
the
War II.
war. For the war. Yeah.
He did. So, again, Genesis, separated, exiled. I would say by Babel. Or again, from a literary standpoint, by the time you get to Babel, it's over. It's over.
It's all mechanical.
Yep. Yeah. I would say that the Babel story is very much like Princess Mononoke at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the fall, Eden. So we all long for Eden, and we are constantly glimpsing it. So he's on my side, or I'm on his side. Our whole nature, at its best and least corrupted, its gentlest and most humane, is still soaked with the sense of exile because logos. Because logos. I'm going to add that, but that's really what he's saying. Because logos. In faith, you 100% can still get there in faith, not in reality, like not in physical. I can get there in reality. I can find the
I
source.
see
of
it, but not yet.
Yeah, I'm not Vasco da Gama. I can't find the fountain of youth because it's Christ. Actually, just go to the chalice. He traveled the ocean to find the fountain of youth. He could have just gone to the altar. So if you come to think of it, your very just horror at the stupid murder of the hawk. Oh, we were talking about this off camera. And your obstinate memory of this home of yours in an idyllic hour, when often there is an illusion of the stay of time and decay and a sense of gentle peace. Aethe, Gnoimain, stands the clock at 10 to 3, and is there honey still for tea? Are derived from Eden, exactly. Exactly. Why do you hunger for raw milk and raw honey? It's not just because it's healthy. It's because it's Edenic. It's all you got.
Unadulterated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And maybe
Adultery
that's
is
the,
a helpful word in
I
there,
was going
isn't
to say,
there?
maybe that is the best word to describe the yearning for Eden is unadulterated,
Hmm.
unadulterated. That is, you're not in another garden in someone else's bed,
Yep.
right?
Faithful.
Someone
Hmm.
else's garden bed. Yeah,
Hmm.
faithful, fidelis. And so, as far as we can go back, the nobler part of the human mind is filled with the thoughts of sib, peace and goodwill, and with the thought of its loss. We shall never, by the way, transhumanism is that. Geoengineering is this. He is describing what we all yearn for, which is how can I make Earth back into paradise?
But
By
through force
violence.
of violent, yeah,
Exactly.
violent
Yeah.
force.
That's why I say all that stuff is violence if it's done apart from Christ.
Hmm.
And even then, it's still a symbol. It's just done in repentance. So, just as to compare a small thing, the convened urban gets more out of the country than the mere yokel, to your point, right? Going to the country. But he cannot become a real landsman. He is both more and, in a way, less truly earthy, anyways, because he's got to go back to the city. Of course, I support that, subject to the permission of God. The whole human race, as each individual, is free not to rise again, but to go to perdition and carry out the fall to its bitter bottom, as each individual can singulater.
Just random use of Latin.
Yeah. And at certain periods, the present is notably one of those periods, that seem not only a likely event, but imminent. Industrialization and urbanization has created this I need to go on vacation. I got to go to the country. Oh, and in 1945, if you were sick, what did they recommend and prescribe? Go to the country, go to the seaside, go to the south of France and breathe in the salt air.
Hmm.
It is cathartic. It's healing.
This was tradition here in this country. Go to the hot springs.
Right.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm. Still, I think there will be a millennium, quote unquote, the prophesied 1,000-year rule of the saints, i.e., those who have, for all their imperfections, never finally bowed heart and will to the world or the evil spirit, which is getting more and more like, for 5 righteous people, will you spare the city?
Yeah.
We're getting closer all the time. In modern, but not universal terms, mechanism, scientific materialism, socialism, in either of its factions now at war.
Ooh,
Yeah,
they're
right.
both socialism. Mm.
Marxism, communism, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Or what's his name? Italy.
Gramsci.
No, 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 no. Fascist.
Oh, the Mussolini guys,
Yeah, the Mussolini
not
guys.
Tito, but Mussolini.
It's the same thing with different branding.
It is, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tito, Mussolini, same guy,
This is why
different brand.
they all work together. They're after
Yeah,
the same thing. Yep.
I like that Italy just quit in the middle of the Second World War and went, "We're out. Can you guys just leave us alone?" By the way, we're out. So, eh, you know,
This has gone a little bit further than we
it's like in
thought.
the middle of tag. You're like, "Nope, I'm sorry, I'm safe."
You just walk off the field.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
this sucks. We keep dying. We're out. We're out. And then they hung him by his toes along with his wife from a lamppost. I am so
Mm.
glad heaven on earth looks like that. It looks like a crucifixion at the end of the day. I am so glad you felt that, quote unquote, the ring is keeping up its standard, and it seems achieving that difficult thing in a long tail, maintaining a difference of quality and atmosphere in events that might easily become, quote unquote, samey, which, as we noted, that's what kind of happens by the third or fourth book. Things start to kind of get to be the same because you've kind of run out of ideas.
Yeah.
Where he's like, yeah, no, that's good that I didn't. For myself, I was probably most moved by Sam's disquisition on the seamless web of story and by the scene when Frodo goes to sleep on his breast and the tragedy of Gollum, who at that moment came with a hair of repentance, within a hair of repentance, but for one rough word from Sam.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he talks about this as if he didn't write it. It
I
was
think
just
that's his understanding of literature, though.
because he understands that stories are alive, because he's
Yeah.
a pre-modern in this
We have
understanding.
the idea of the muse, and yeah.
No, he literally understands that stories are living things. And therefore, he didn't invent the story. The
That
story
you
came to
shepherd
him.
it, you steward it.
He's just a
Hmm.
stenographer. That's all he is. And so the moving quality of that is on a different plane than Celebrimbor, etc., which, by the way, curses to Ring of Power for bastardizing and turning that into something
I
it
don't know how
never
many
was.
different kinds of curses you can apply, but they're all appropriate.
All of them are appropriate for Rings of Power. What you did to kill a Brimbor.
Although the soundtrack is actually okay.
Fair. There are two quite different emotions. One that moves me supremely and I find small difficulty in evoking. The heart-racking sense of the vanished past, best expressed by Gandalf's words about the Palantir.
Oh, we know that word now.
Yeah, there we go. And the more ordinary emotion, triumph, pathos, tragedy of the characters. That I am learning to do as I get to know my people, but it is not really so near my heart and is forced on me by the fundamental literary dilemma. Oh, here it is. A story must be told or there will be no story.
There you go.
And yet it is the untold stories that are the most moving because they're not ready to be told yet. I think you are moved by Celebrimbor because it conveys a sudden sense of endless untold stories. Mountain scene. By the way, he is literally telling us right now why Christopher will, in the future, after his death, edit and publish the Silmarillion. Because he says it right here. The sudden, endless, untold stories. And then Christopher goes, oh, I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend 4 years in a barn with my buddy. We're telling the story.
Yeah. Spends his lifetime, the rest of his life doing it.
He really does. God bless you, Christopher Tolkien. Mountains seen far away, never to be climbed. Distant trees like Niggles, which we just talked about in Bible class yesterday. It was brought up. Never to be approached. By the way, read Leaf by Niggle. It's fantastic. Oh, that's so good. It's heartbreaking, actually. Mountains seen far away, never to be climbed. He's talking about his writing again, by the way. The story itself. Distant trees like Niggles, never to be approached, or, if so, only to become near trees, unless in paradise or Niggles perish. So this is what we're talking about, actually. You can plant trees. Good for you. You should. It's godly. But don't think by planting these trees, you're going to be able to approach these distant trees that are the trees of paradise. They're the trees that were there before the fall, before the Numenorians, before anything. Like those two trees, the golden tree and the silver tree, these two lights that lit all of creation, you can't. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the sun and the moon are the symbols of the first two trees, both for Tolkien, who's drawing upon the garden, obviously. But that's what the moon and the sun represent. That's what they symbolize, are the two trees. And you can't climb those mountains because until the resurrection, the cosmic mountain is unavailable to you. But it exists to faith because it's revealed that it's there. It's revealed to faith. The Mount Zion is there. It's there throughout Scripture. It's there at the end of Scripture. It's there. And the fact that we no longer preach that, even though it's literally in the entirety of the Bible, again, it's a circle, is tragic because we're not giving our people their holy imagination back. We're not giving them the story of the hope in, which is there is a mountain. And I preached this last Sunday. It was the end of the sermon. And it was the end of the beginning. I started in one place in the beginning and I ended the same place, but in the New Jerusalem. And it was interesting that how many people, again, came up to me afterwards or throughout the week and went, I'm still thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, because that's the true story.
And they haven't heard it before? Or it was
again,
just the moment?
As you said earlier, it's the when of it.
Yeah.
Had they heard it from me. Had they heard it from other people? Never. And so they heard it, and then they heard it. And when they heard it this time, they were ready to hear it. That God said, now you'll listen. Now I'm going to set your imagination on fire. Now, this is interesting because last night I had a conversation on the phone with somebody, and that's what she said to me. She said, I now come to church because I know angels and archangels and all the people that I'm waiting to meet in heaven are there on Sunday morning with us because you will not shut up about it. But to have her say, the only reason I come to church is to be with Jesus and the angels. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's childlike faith. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Your imagination is finally awake. Because my kids, to your point, none of the kids in church have a problem with me saying that. They love that. They repeat it to their. They believe it, and they repeat it to their friends at school, to the embarrassment of their parents.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, well, no, pastor's just. I mean, that's a story, but that's not real. And the pastor says to the kids, this is absolutely the most real thing that I could possibly say to you. And the parents are physically uncomfortable with me saying that to their children. And I'm like, but you don't believe that, even though all of Scripture testifies to the holy mountain and the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and dragons and the phoenix birds and all this stuff? You don't believe that, even though Scripture testifies to it? And what's even worse is that in our church body, we claim that every word of Scripture is true, but just some are truer than others, to quote Animal Farm.
Well, yeah. True as in metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. It's truly a metaphor.
It's truly a great
But what
metaphor.
Tolkien is saying to his son is, even as an adult, he's saying this to his son, there are just some mountains that you can't climb, and there's some trees that you can't touch. Those are the untold stories. They're endless, but they're untold. And I think, none of them talking out loud or thinking out loud, I think that's the purpose of preaching.
Yeah.
The purpose of preaching is to tell the untold story
You have to climb the mountain.
and to say, someday you will climb this mountain,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not going to be able to go to Nepal to find it. You can't go to Denali in Alaska. You can't find Denali.
Well, and in that way, it's a different kind of story because it's heaven and
Right.
earth
Right.
together.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's the point, right? Why climb a mountain? Because it's there, right? But no, that's a physical
To see what's on the
rational-
other side.
to see what's on the other side versus no,
Mhm.
the reason you're climbing that mountain is because, again, as he's saying, the untold story is there is a mountain that you will finally climb that will require no effort and you won't die climbing it. But it's Zion.
Yeah, it is the hard thing about Old Testament in particular.
Yeah.
But it's communicated in the New Testament of Jesus too, is that the high places, they're both places ordained by God,
Yeah.
to commune with God.
Right.
Although He dwells in the valley too, right? That's the tabernacle.
Yeah.
But then they also, when they take that unto themselves, like I'm going to make this high place,
Yeah.
a place of
Yeah,
worship without,
exactly.
then it becomes idolatry.
Which is why
and false
Jesus says to
worship.
the woman at the well, there's coming a day when you won't have to worship in Jerusalem. You can worship on the mountains and in the forest groves. And that
Right,
day is now, but it's me.
right,
I'm the altar.
right.
And that's the point. He's
Whether
not
it's by
saying,
the sea
right.
or it's on the mountain.
Because, yeah, to your point then, if you read what Jesus is saying in a Canaanite sort of way, you're saying, well, I don't have to go to church to worship God. I can go on top of a mountain to worship God, which is literally the Canaanite worship move.
Right.
Whereas Jesus is saying, no, you're going to go to the mountain because I am the mountain. I am the altar at the top of the mountain. It's me. You're not going to the mountain to find the gods. When you get to the top of the mountain, it's Jesus Christ.
You go to the
not what
depths of the
Spinoza
sea, I'm
yeah,
there. You go to the
exactly.
farthest coast, I'm
I've
there.
quoted that like 6 times this week already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think maybe because this week's reading is the feeding of the 4,000 and also
It is
John
on a
6.
mountain, yeah, of
Well,
a
but
sort.
the sense of in John 6 sort of way is I'm going to feed you. And the only thing this is going to do is make you hungrier for me. So
And
if you-
confused.
and confused. Exactly. Here's a great answer. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, there will be no life in you.
Yeah. And maybe
That-
the 4,000 has a little bit different emphasis, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is that I think that's the story that needs to be preached then. Again, this happens to me every week now. I write the sermon, it's good, and then I have a conversation with you, and then this all comes out, and then I have to rewrite the
Well,
sermon.
we could record earlier in the week, I guess.
Let's not do that, because then my sermons wouldn't be as good. But in the sense of like, these are the stories that I tell now, and I'm always looking for, the beginning of the sermon is, where's the earthly story that we've lost, like the Appalachian granny women? But then what's the story that points us to? Well, it is the fact that the true healer, the great physician, is Jesus. And the medicine he offers is immortality.
Right.
And he will heal you in your body in this life, but he will also heal you to eternal salvation with his flesh and blood and so forth. And so the granny woman healer is necessary. That is a gift of God because she is midwife. She is the go-between. She's the median.
And she's the intercessor in a way.
Correct,
She's the one
'cause
who tells you that don't spray the burdock. Brew
Exactly.
it.
She's like, pray over it and then brew it and then drink it.
Yeah.
And she does it with prayers and psalms. And she's pointing to the old world. But again, she's pointing forward to Jesus. Like the reason that I know these things is because Christ revealed them to me. And so I'm going to give them to you. But ultimately, even though they're Baptists, they're still pointing to the heavenly Jerusalem. They're still pointing to the body and blood. They're still pointing to him being the great physician.
Right.
And so I think that is kind of, again, the untold story of the sermon is, let me point you to the thing that you see through the stained glass. You can't touch it quite yet, but we have the crumbs. And that's a grace in and of itself because we can't get back to Eden, but there's still crumbs.
But Eden imposes itself upon us in a
Yeah,
way,
because,
right?
well, again, at the heart of Eden is Christ,
Because we have the blood of Christ covering all
right?
things. Yeah.
That's why I have an icon behind me of Jesus sitting in a tree surrounded by the disciples
Mm,
who are all in the tree.
yeah.
And that ultimately, again,
Isn't
he is
that a
the tree.
great picture?
It's the best because you
Because
sit
it's
there and
also
go,
family. I mean, you
yeah,
convey
that
that.
too, family tree.
Uh-huh.
Yep, and there's birds, and yeah, it's all that.
It's a tree house.
It is a tree house. It is the house of the Lord, the tree house of the Lord.
Yeah.
So what Gillespie is saying is that only true Christians build their churches in trees. So, so send your emails and your texts and DMs to Pastor Gillespie.
I
He
was
said
gonna.
only
Yeah.
tree houses can be true churches.
If you send us an email, we may respond. I may. I won't. I don't have to forward it. But I
Again, we
may
need to
ignore
start
it.
these absurd movements just to see if people get excited.
I like the idea in principle. I mean, maybe
Right.
not at scale though,
Right,
unless
right.
it's like Ewok Village kind of thing,
Well, again, this is why you said earlier, like in Ethiopia, they have churches at the tops of mountains in caves.
or in caves and valleys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both.
because persecution, but also because Mount Zion.
Well, and there is we were talking about hewing something out of rock. I mean, there's something beautiful about taking what's already there.
Yeah.
It's already been formed by
Right.
the forces of God, working, through wind and wave and whatever, and then just contouring that for the use there, to gather in. I once had escargot in a cave in France.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a restaurant built
Interesting.
into a cave. They do
Here
that
we
there.
go. Ibuna Yamatagu is a famous Ethiopian church in the Tigray region, 2,580 meters above the valley. 15th century wall painting of the challenging climb required. Yeah, you have to like commit your life to this because you have to climb up a cliff to get there.
Yeah,
The stairs are built into a cliff, and there are no handrails.
and you're not growing food up there, so you're gonna
No,
have
no,
to.
no. There's like one guy now that takes care of it. Like he's the last like monk on the mountain, last priest that goes up there every day or whatever. And
That's
they climb.
sad.
But it's a climb, man. It's wild.
I do like the idea of having to put some effort into getting to church.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's that. It's not a large congregation. Let's put it that way.
No, 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 no. I think it was a monastery, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he continues then, my space will soon run out. And also, it is 9 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant you were going to die. And I have some letters of necessity to write and 2 lectures tomorrow, so I must be thinking of closing down soon. I read eagerly all details
Then
of
he
your
writes like 2 more paragraphs.
Of course he does. This is the Minnesota goodbye, man. I read eagerly all details of your life and the things you see and do and suffer, jive and boogie woogie among them. All the new dance moves, Dad. I'm learning the new dance moves. You'll have no heart's tug at losing that. It is essentially vulgar. Music corrupted by the mechanism, echoing in dreary, unnourished heads. I love his parentheses. He's like John. So good.
That's such a boomer thing to say.
It is though, right? Yeah. I
With
mean,
more eloquence.
I love hearing what you do, even the stuff that's vulgar and evil and wrong. And you are unnourished in your head for doing it, yes. But you will remember the other things. Even the storms and the dry veldt of even the smells of camp when you return to this other land, meaning his military service.
Mm-hmm.
I can see clearly now in my mind's eye the old trenches and his military service now, and the squalid houses and the long roads of Artois. And I would visit them again if I could. Ellipses. God, there's so much sadness in that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Because he's longing for Eden, and and it's paralleled to
And then remembers the war.
yeah, when you're at war. Yeah.
And to revisit it after the war, after the devastation.
It does become like Eden then, I suppose.
I suppose
in
in a way,
contrast.
yeah. You know. And so I've just heard the news, ... Russians 60 miles from Berlin. It does look as if something decisive might happen soon. Yeah, the good guys are going to win. The appalling destruction and misery of this war mount hourly. Destruction of what should be, indeed is, the common wealth of Europe and the world if mankind were not so besotted. Wealth of Europe and the world if mankind were not so besotted. Wealth and the loss of which will affect us all, victor or not. Yet people gloat to hear of the endless lines, 40 miles long, of miserable refugees, women and children pouring west, dying on the way. Oh, geez. Huh. Little contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
There seem no bowels of mercy or compassion, no imagination left in this dark, diabolic hour. Wow. By which I do not mean that it may not all, in the present situation mainly and not solely created by Germany, be necessary and inevitable, but why gloat? We were supposed to have reached a stage of civilization in which it might still be necessary to execute a criminal, but not to gloat or to hang his wife and child by him, while the orc crowd hooted.
That's an important note.
It is.
Because it's easy to forget, even The Hobbit, but definitely The Lord of the Rings is forged.
Yeah.
You know, and
Out of the Industrial Revolution.
Out, not only the Industrial
Urbanization.
War.
Yeah,
Right?
out of the war, yeah.
War 1 and 2. You know, it's a reflection on one, but it's also looking in the face of the nation state, the rise of those fascist nation states, and you know, which are centralizing forces that are.
And as I said, by the way, and I
devastating.
don't know if he's referring to this, but this is how they did Mussolini in. They
That's
hung
what you
him
said
and his
earlier.
wife
Yeah.
by their toes and basically cut him open.
And
let
that
'em
we're
bleed out on
like
the street.
orcs by hooting and gloating
But
over it.
that means that the orcs that we think are so bad for him are actually the post-industrial urban
Mm-hmm.
people who gloat over the execution of criminals.
Yeah, because and the cutting of trees and
Right. We're not the elves. We're
the
the
eating
orcs.
of flesh and
This is
yeah.
the thing, right? Is that we talk about this in like Matthew's gospel. Who are we in the story?
Yeah.
You're the religious leaders. That's who you are.
Most often, yeah.
Most often, we're the religious leaders. We're not the disciples. We're not even the crowd.
You used to be a pretty good sinner, though.
Right. Whereas Tolkien again is saying like, well, who are you're not the dwarves or you're the orcs. We are the orcs most of the time. So the destruction of Germany, be it 100 times merited, is one of the most appalling world catastrophes. Well, you and I can do nothing about it, and that should be a measure of the amount of guilt that can justly be assumed to attach to any member of a country who is not a member of its actual government.
So there's a cognitive disconnect there.
Right. Yeah.
We're not responsible
right.
entirely for the actions of our government.
What is it called? Diffusion of responsibility.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a reality to this. Like, I didn't tell our allies to murder children.
Right.
I mean,
we also did nothing to protest it.
As if.
Right.
I mean, that's Tolkien's point here. Like,
right.
How am I to fight against this?
Right. Pray against it, protest against it, speak up against it, say something. You know, that's
I don't know. Another change.org petition.
Right.
For what?
But what are you supposed to do? Sit quietly and do nothing while it happens?
It's that fracturing of the self then.
Yeah. Like I said, and that's definitely not the thrust of the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is not sitting.
We must
nothing.
do what's been given to us to do.
Right. Exactly. Whether that's you're the guy who lights the fire on the mountaintop, or you're following Gandalf into Mordor, whatever it might be.
Well, and most of the fellowship are shepherds.
They're fractured.
Well,
they're
and
shepherds. Yeah,
they're shepherds. They're for part of the journey.
Right.
And then they have
that's all they are. Right. It's just stripped away piece by piece.
Right. And then they're given another role.
Right. Yeah, they are. They're
which
sent
might
in
be
a different direction.
sitting upon guarding Isengard, drinking or smoking.
Feckweed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first War of the Machines seems to be drawing to its final. There it is, right there.
Yep.
The War of the Machines.
Isn't that fantastic?
The first one, not the second one. The first one seems to be drawing to its final inconclusive chapter. By the way, Princess Mononoke is based on an actual historical event.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Yeah. To this point too, because that's really what the Princess Mononoke is about: the War of the Machines versus the Earth and nature. So the final inconclusive chapter, leaving, alas, everyone the poorer, many bereaved or maimed and millions dead, and only one thing triumphant: the machines.
How far?
God, that's
when
depressing.
did he die?
1950. No, wait. 1960. 1971.
So
72?
I mean, he didn't.
1972, I think it is.
Right. So he's not going to see the thoroughness of the post-war.
He lived to see the Cold War.
Parts of it, but not the extent of it. Because I mean, what I imagine
1973. There we go.
Because the deceit today is that we don't see that what we have is the result of this.
Yeah.
That we are indeed
The machines
poor,
won.
bereaved, maimed.
Well, obviously the machines won because
and
AI.
the machine won. And the machines won.
Yeah.
call the machine whatever you want to call it. I mean, sometimes we call it the deep state, we call it the beast, we call it all sorts of things.
Illuminati, it's all the same. It's the
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, it's another way of saying it.
The cult of Baal is the machine.
Enormously powerful, dehumanizing. I mean, it's the scouring of the Shire.
Yeah, exactly. It's anti-Eden. It's how
Mhm.
can we destroy Eden altogether?
Right.
Because again, you have to steal people's hope. That's how you win. That is literally the subtext of the entire trilogy.
Yeah, and that's probably why. Yeah, that's probably why Peter Jackson left out the scouring of the Shire, because
I know, but
you have to. It's like, no, the battle. Yeah, it's done with one, but it's
and
still
it's important to know that while he does include that Wormtongue kills Sauron
Mhm.
in the end,
there.
that is a key point. Is that in the end it will kill itself
Yeah, yeah.
every time.
Oh, tail eats the Ouroboros.
Yeah, right. But it is the tragedy of recognizing, in his case, listen, they won.
Instead, we got that silly long ending, 45 minutes of
Yeah.
farewells.
Well, you got to
Speaking of
cry,
that-
man. We got to cry.
I
That's
know, with the music.
all the feels.
Yeah, right.
every time, dude. Just bawl at the end of it. Ugh, it's terrible.
Well, I mean,
Here's
there's Samwise has it. He has it pretty good.
He does. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wins.
He wins. Samwise wins.
As the servants of the machines are becoming a privileged class,
Hmm. Now we know who he's talking about.
the machines are going to be enormously more powerful. What's their next move? ... All the love of your own father. You son of a
Cliffhanger.
bitch. You son of a bitch. How dare you?
Oh, that's so good. That's a
Yeah.
great letter.
And the next letter to Christopher has nothing to do with this conversation. He doesn't mention it at all.
No.
He talks about
That's-
Coventry and convent. Yeah.
It's the nice thing about letters is that they are very
Yeah.
timely, poignant.
This is why I wanted to revisit this letter, though, because when we read this last time, none of this stuff popped out at me that's popping out this time. And to
Mhm.
say, that's the value of going back and doing things, again, translating Genesis over and over, or reading something over and over, and just sitting with it. Sit
Yeah.
with it and let it talk to you. Let it teach you.
Well, and this is, my fascination, curiosity, whatever, obsessive compulsive personality looking into the history of modern finance and economics,
Sure.
and it intersects with what he's saying,
Right.
because it's coming out of World War One, and and then they needed another war to completely rewrite.
Well, they needed to finish the first war.
Yeah, they needed to
That's
finish the first
actually
one.
what World War II was just finishing
Sure.
the first.
And then, there was a time of prosperity, but it was artificial.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and it's mechanical. What did I tell you about? Oh, what's
what
one
brought
of the?
what brought Germany back from the devastation of Versailles and the worldwide global depression? It was the hyper industrialization of Germany.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah, it's material.
100%. Yeah,
It's not.
and also gutting the spiritual soul
course.
of Germany. Yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting. I go back to Padraig Pearse in 1913, the Irish guy who said that a country without a language is a country without a soul. And one of the things Tolkien talks about is the whole reason he started writing these stories is to re-mythologize England, to give England new myths because they had lost all the original ones. And so students were coming to his classes and he's lecturing on these old stories, like Beowulf, for example, and they don't know them. And he's like, this is literally like what defines us as, and actually now I think about it. So with Dawkins saying we need the Christian story and the morality, he's actually he's sniffing around the door, but he doesn't recognize what he's actually asking for is what Tolkien is saying. We need to take the old myths and retell them in today's language. So, well, hobbits and dwarves and dragons.
Yeah.
And then you're like, didn't Tolkien just literally crib all of this stuff? Yes, he did. But he just reorganized. Like Gandalf is a frost giant. All the dwarves in the Hobbit are named after frost giants. That doesn't matter. What he's doing is saying, like, when you read this is the new myth based on old myths. So go read the old ones too. Because those are actually the thing that give us our identity as Britons.
Right.
And so it's not morality, again, that actually will give you your identity back. It's actually the old stories that will then give you a sense of identity and place and purpose and meaning. And then downstream from those stories is morality. You'll do the right thing, again, because you're given hope that heroes are real. You need somebody to fight the dragon. Like, all these things are real. They used to be. And now we say they're not real, which is why we're hopeless. And morality is not what's going to save us because we tried that.
Right.
And we tried it, and the machines actually sell it to us. That's the problem.
It's fantastic.
To the point that we no longer question the machines. We don't even ask if, like, is this necessary? Is this good for society? We don't even ask that question. We just accept it because it's convenient. We're way past morality. And that's why people arguing for morality are so far downstream from the truth. Morality can't save society. This is why putting the 10 Commandments in schools isn't going to change anything.
Yeah, I mean, it may create some kind of outward, obedience, but it
It
changes.
won't, because there's no hope.
Yeah, it doesn't change the heart. Is the point?
No, it won't do anything because there's no hope.
It won't do anything.
Hope inspires good behavior.
It will do something. It won't do what we want it to do.
It won't. Because as we said, the heart has 1,000 ways to justify
What did I say? I said
evil in the name of doing something good.
why don't you just put up the 5 pillars of Islam?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Do that.
Sure.
Yeah, you'll actually end up with more moral people probably.
Well, because of the threat of violence.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, this is the problem, is that modern rationalists and materialists think that morality is going to save us, and it's not. If it could have, the Enlightenment would have won.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have collapsed under its own weight because it can't fulfill its promises.
Yeah. Now, I would say that's a good place to end, except I won't. I have major issues with the PayPal mafia's use of Tolkien.
Well, of course.
It's a whole nother side note.
But is it perfect branding?
So, I mean, obviously using Palantir, you're telling us exactly what you're doing.
Well, this is, again, the Hegelian synthesis.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a thesis, I'm going to present an antithesis,
Now, the
and I'm going to
Palantir
synthesize those.
can they be used for good? Were
No.
they at some point? No, but they can't anymore.
No.
They weren't created for that. They're not used for that.
After Eden? No.
Yeah, their
That's the
original
point.
creation, maybe.
Yes.
Now, here's some more. Anduril,
Yeah.
right? The sword, the reforged sword.
Yeah.
It's like to fight wars.
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
Mm-hmm.
Aragorn's use? I don't think so.
No.
Now, here's the one I just learned about the other day, and I didn't know about was Erebor,
Yeah,
which
right.
is the Smaug's, Misty Mountain.
Yep.
With the gold.
Yeah.
It's another bank.
Yeah.
Palmer Luckey is another PayPal guy. He founded it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a very interesting character too. More interesting than Peter Thiel, actually, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. Like, we're gonna have a big gold vault. That's what we're
In a
gonna
mountain.
do.
He is
In a
literally a
mountain.
dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the dragon.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I guess revelation of the method, I suppose.
Well, again, because you can't see things symbolically, you see the man and go, he's not a dragon. I'm like, symbolically, he is dragons.
He's telling you. He's telling
dragons can change their form to appear as humans.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they interact.
Now
with
he
people.
would say, no, actually,
Yeah, I know.
we're dwarves and we're mining and da da da. Right.
What did the dwarves do? They mined so deep they uncovered the Balrogs.
Right.
They dug up the Balrogs.
Oops. Was that in
That's
the
not
Misty
helpful.
Mountains? Yeah.
That's not helpful.
That was the other kingdom. That's not the Misty
The
Mountains.
mines of Moria.
That's in Moria. Right.
Again, a little on the nose. But again, it's all of this is in the mix. So why aren't we talking about this more often? One, the stories are fantastic. Tolkien's a genius. That's why so many people are seeking to undermine him in the present tense, to destroy that whole mythos.
And that's my point of bringing up the PayPal people.
Right.
As you're actually
So this is what we do, to your point.
making it gross.
So we choose people that have been racially attacked and turn them into racists, because then we can't attack them. That's the Hegelian synthesis.
Mm-hmm.
We take people that were genocided and then we set them up to commit genocide so that we can't attack them. That's the synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. We do the same thing with Tolkien. We'll take Tolkien, we'll set up the antithesis as the thesis, and then take the good as bad, and then we'll synthesize those two, and then you won't be able to see what we're doing. And the nice thing about this is
Eventually, there's going to be articles about, maybe Gollum was the hero.
well, this is the beauty of the Hegelian synthesis, is you always have to then take the other. So what happens is,
take the other position.
the person that used to form the thesis, he becomes the anti-thesis. This is what intersectional
we saw it with
race guys have
intersectional,
done.
right. You have to be
Martin Luther King.
anti-racist.
Right.
Right.
So you're anti-king because that becomes the antithesis to the new Marxism. But then the next generation is going to come up and set them as the antithesis to the new generation. This is why the Reformation, the Revolution is always ongoing. This is the whole point of the color
And it will
revolution.
be televised.
It
right.
will be televised. Unfortunately, Gil Scott Heron was both right and wrong simultaneously, because he said in an interview, the revolution won't be televised because it's a mental, spiritual revolution. It has to take place inside of you. You have to be changed.
We don't see the actual. We only see
The real revolution is your heart has changed and the way you think has changed, metanoia. The revolution that we're going to witness is the ongoing synthesis of Marxism, communism, socialism into different forms so that when you point at something and go, isn't that fascism? No, you don't understand. That's not fascism. That's actually a good thing. It's corporatism. And corporatism's good because we're here to serve you better and
I
make life
know.
more
I ruined
convenient.
somebody's day the other day by mentioning that Lincoln was a fascist, and
Huge.
I mean, like we had like
Actually, it was the guy that they wanted to be his VP that was he was a radical anti-abolitionist. I just learned this 2 days ago.
hmm
Like, what was his name? Clay, right?
yeah,
Was
something
it
like
Clay?
that.
Clay actually, he grew up on a plantation, went off to college. There's the first mistake. Comes back, takes over the plantation, immediately frees all of his slaves,
Hmm.
and says, if you want, you can stay here and I'll protect you, right? Or you can go and I'll give you money and do whatever you need to do. You want some land, I'll give you land. And then becomes a radical anti-slavery guy. And then again, the Republicans are like, we need this guy to be your VP. And Lincoln's like, whoa, dude, he's really way too extreme for what I want to
I mean, I
accomplish.
wanted to deport the slaves, not
Right, exactly.
not free
I mean,
them.
free means get rid of, not free as in let them still stay here.
No,
And then,
but I was
yeah,
referring to like 14th through 17th Amendments and
sure.
the elimination of basically any kind of state sovereignty and and becoming a centralized republic supposedly.
But
Yeah.
just again, why aren't we learning? Cassius Clay, that's right, Cassius Clay. That's his name.
Ah, yes.
Cassius Clay.
What a great
Muhammad
name.
Ali was named after Cassius Clay.
Uh-huh.
And then because he didn't want a slave name, ironically, he changed his name to Muhammad Ali when he converted. And
Oops.
it's like, ooh, you were so close. You were so close.
Different kind of slavery, but okay.
Different kind of slavery. Actually, in some ways maybe worse.
Uh-huh.
But again, look at how the US government broke every treaty with the Native Americans. Look at what they did with Jim Crow laws. Now apply that to you today, and you realize, oh, they're doing it to us. This is
Yeah.
what during COVID, I recognized in 2020, I said this to my wife repeatedly, they're doing to us what they've done to black people for over a century, which is, are you a citizen? Yes. Are you second class now? Yes. Why? Because you just won't go along with all the mandates.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm just doing my job. By the way, I can't serve you. I was told that to my face. We can't serve you because you won't abide by the law.
You're not doing the rules.
And I turned to my wife and I went, I know this might sound weird, but I now understand in
Mhm.
some small way, this is how black people were treated for over a century. And you know what? I don't like it.
No.
And so look at Native American history, look at black history, look at the way Chicanos were treated, for example, on the West Coast to the present tense, and go, well, everything they did to them first, they were literally they were literally field testing these things. And now they're doing them to us. It's the same thing. They just slow walk you into these things. And the point is, what they're trying to do is to get back to an Eden of their own creation because they reject Christ. They reject
Yeah.
the Logos.
And it ends up being this.
And the only reason I think you need to be educated and learn these things is to say that. I want to believe in this, but I know ultimately it's not Christ. So I can support it or not. I can pray against it or pray for it. But at bottom, I still have to return to the altar and to Jesus because what they're
Yeah.
what they're chasing is actually Christ. And since I already have him and I have that hope and I have that truth, I'm going to go back to Jesus and say, Jesus, I really want to change the world for the better. I really want to save these people, but I know only you can do that.
Right. Right.
And so I'm going to appeal to you like the judge appeals to the widow appeals to the judge. Go to Christ. Don't go throw paint on a painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue, and I know this hurts a lot of people, no matter how much you believe in your movement, whether it's anti-abortion, anti-racism, anti-hiring practices, whatever it may be, if you want to protest, fine. That's your thing. Go for it. You're free in Christ to do it or not. But you got to go to the altar with that because your government does not care about you. And ultimately, even if they do, they can't do it. They
They're
will
not
not
your
save
heroes.
you.
They're
They're
not
not your
your
heroes.
No.
They're not real. They're not even the same species. Jesus became man so that he might sympathize with you in every single way, even to be tempted like us in every single way, and yet without sin. Not a man or a woman on earth can make that claim.
No.
And so why do you want to be Jesus to the one that needs saving? Why do you think you can be Jesus to the one that needs saving? Only Jesus can do that. And if you're chosen to be the instrument of that, God bless you.
Yeah.
But you don't get to choose that for him.
Yeah.
There are, like, if you're chosen to be Jonah, God bless you. But don't choose that for yourself.
In the same way, like what he wants for you, for your family, for your
Yeah.
congregation,
Yes.
for this country, etc.
Right.
He knows, and I mean, it's hard because we believe he's revealed it to us,
Right.
but kind of in a limited
Again,
way,
through
right?
the stained glass.
Through the stained glass, and that he's going to work when and where he wills, according to his
Right.
good and gracious purpose for
Right.
you and for our
Right.
people, for our nation, even,
100%.
right?
Yes.
But you can't take control of that
Right.
without it becoming
Idolatry.
demonic, even.
Yeah,
Right?
demonic.
I mean, what does the Eden look like? A mechanized Eden is not Eden.
It's so gross.
It's gross. I mean, it's the
A
city,
mechanized Eden
unfortunately.
is Disneyland, Disney World, Branson, Paris. Like it's
Altogether.
it's all of those things. It's Las Vegas. It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
It literally is a bastardization to the point of, like you said, demonic depravity.
Yeah.
And go, look, isn't this the stars? Isn't this what beauty
Well,
is?
it's like
Isn't
saying that Elon Musk is pro-natalist. And
Right.
you're like, how many women
you know who was pro-natalist, by the way? Jeffrey Epstein.
was he?
Well, he left his seed in every fertility clinic
Well,
he started,
Yeah, I
which is
suppose.
in the thousands, by the way.
Okay.
You know how many kids have his DNA?
I have
It's in
no
the
idea.
tens of thousands, actually. He was a eugenicist.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
You just ruined my day.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Again, do not put your faith in men. This is Nebuchadnezzar. This is Daniel. This is the whole feet of clay thing.
Right. Right.
And you uncover the idolatry to name the demon behind it, to unmask the evil spirits, and then to say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I cast you out.
Mm-hmm.
So that, as you noted, every civilization collapses every 250 to 300 years. So why do you believe that this is stable and rooted when there's only one who is stable and rooted, and that is the rock? Everything else is shifting sands.
Yeah. 200,
And-
250 years is even probably a stretch.
It's pretty optimistic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're at the end of our run. We had a good one. We have our Genesis story, World War II.
Right. And the way forward, I mean, like that's why I like Judges so much, is repentance.
Joshua and the elders died, and they forgot what God did in the wilderness, so they did whatever their heart wanted.
So, yeah.
And now chapter 2, they did whatever their heart wanted. And now chapter 3,
Let's back to Christ. Right.
it's always, every chapter of Judges is literally return of the Lord, return of the Lord.
Right.
And they don't. And that's why every chapter gets worse.
But I mean, it is the way forward.
It is.
Even if
And by the way,
many
yeah,
people
like,
don't believe that. I mean,
maybe like post-World War II is like the Samson generation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read beyond Samson to the actual end of the book of Judges, which is awful,
It is. It's terrible.
I think we're kind of there. We're at that point where the priests are lying about what happens when they pimp out their concubines.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're at that level of depravity. And again, in Christ, there is hope.
Yeah. Maybe not so much in our immediate circle, but in the broader Christian circles.
Yeah.
What was the new Archbishop of Wales?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really sad.
It is.
Actually, yeah.
And as Tolkien says, we don't gloat about it. We're not
No.
talking about this to gloat.
No.
We're talking about this in lament.
Yeah, we should.
Because the people on the outside see that and go, well, that's why I don't go to church. That's why this is all
Yeah,
nonsense.
and I don't blame you.
No, you don't. But that's the devil's
She's dressed
trick.
up nice.
Yeah, that's the devil's work, though.
Yeah.
So again, unmasks the devil and go, that's not the church. That's the devil who has infiltrated that church.
That's not Eden.
And it's not Eden, and it's not Christ, and it's not the sacrament.
Mm.
And so if you focus on the real thing, then all the false things become very clear and obvious. And then you can kind of carry on
Right.
in hope, in faith. But again, recover the old stories. Go back to Genesis and go, this isn't just a beautiful story. This is beautiful truth.
Yeah. And I think one of those keys, which I love about Tolkien, and it's definitely an emphasis in the books, is to not fight against the divine call, I guess is what we call it, the call. You know,
Yeah.
where God has put you, the place, the people he's called you
Yes.
to serve, right? To continue and to persevere even in the midst of great opposition.
Well, again, I was in the trenches in World War One. You're in the trenches in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really upset by the fact that the machines did this to us
Again.
and they won.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to live long enough to see it repeated. The computer, transatlantic flight, like just on and on and on and on and on. And yet, his son carries forward his legacy and goes, I'm going to keep publishing my father's works because I think that they're pointing us to a higher truth, a bigger, greater truth.
Mm-hmm.
And as Christopher gets older, he appreciates that more and more, which is why he does it. And also why Christopher's kids are a bunch of crumbs.
It's amazing.
They sold him out.
Third generation
Yep.
done.
Yeah, there it is again, biblical.
That's
Just sold him and their grandfather out for 30 pieces of silver.
I know that it is. That's a great modern tale to
Yeah.
tell you about generational wealth.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
such a joke. It's
Right.
like maybe you can care for your children, but your children's children, they're on their own.
Right. Right.
You know, in effect.
And so, yeah, this is a great episode. I love reading stuff like this. It really inspires me. So I hope it inspired all of you listening to not only go and read Tolkien. Read his, again, they just put out a new edition of his letters last year.
And that's what I linked to. That's what I have here.
Yeah, and so
The revised expanded edition.
the nice thing about the bibliography is it's broken down by topic.
Mm-hmm.
So he has an entire, like, there's so many letters that are just theological, and he's answering people's questions about not only the theology of his books, but just his theology as a Roman Catholic. And it's beautiful. The things he writes are beautiful meditations. And you realize this is a man who thought deeply about many things. And in that, there is a great passion and joy and compassion for the earth, for people, for the old stories. And I think that's what, at least for myself, that's what inspires and invigorates me to want to spend more time with them and sit with them
Yeah.
and go, well, we lost these, but you can just give them to your kids and pass them on as a birthright. Again, if you hate the stories that are being told today, go read the old stories to your kids.
Right. And this is a good tip I told you. We got all three of the first volumes of the from Symbolic Press.
Yeah.
You know, so we
Yeah,
have Snow White,
Jack.
Jack and the Beanstalk, and then now, well, Jack and the Giants, and then the most recent, the long-haired lady,
Rapunzel. Let
Rapunzel.
down your hair.
Right. And
Is
then,
it better than Tangled?
unfortunately, my daughters know the music by heart.
I love that movie. I love Tangled. It's so great.
I thought it was a good tell.
They did a
They
good
know
job.
it by heart. I wish they knew hymns the way they know Disney songs.
Right? Isn't that the truth, though?
They're not
Yes.
as catchy. Oh man.
Thank God, actually.
The hymns?
I don't think I could sing Disney hymns every Sunday.
There's
Although,
a-
if you're out there and you have no ethics, go for it.
There's a viral meme about this lady singing "We Need Another Pentecost." It's some praise song,
Okay.
but it is one of the comments was fantastic. She's like, "This is what Disney did to church music," and I'm like, "Oh, you're exactly right."
Fair point.
Because
Fair point.
she sounds like she's right on Mickey Mouse Club or something.
There we go. Yeah.
You know, and it's just
This will be my closing. I'll throw this out there. If you want to know where the names Mickey and Minnie came from, look at Walt Disney's real name and where he came from.
what?
And look at his sister. There's a whole history there.
Oh no.
This is why I'm not a fan of anything produced by Walt. And it goes a lot deeper than his anti-Semitism and misogyny, trust me. That's just the edge stuff.
So it apparently has a letter that refers to Hans Christian Andersen's Ugly Duckling story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the index is really fantastic. It's thorough.
Oh, you mean Tolkien? Yeah.
In this,
Yeah, it's a
in this
great
edition.
index. Thank you. Not bibliography index. My bad.
Yeah. He's got 4 letters that refer to the Balrogs. So you want to learn more about the
You know
Balrogs?
what we should do? Now that I'm thinking about it, we should read the stories that he uses because those were written by Christian monks and then have a conversation around the Christianization of the old pagan stories.
Yeah, there's lots of references to those stories here. I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
You know, other fairy tales, other myths, other legends.
We should do that. That'd be fun. Again, those are banned books, technically, because we are not allowed to do that anymore. 'cause
Eagle
it's
and
not
Child.
Christian. Yeah.
Yeah. He also refers to the Blickling homilies. I don't know.
Those are so good. I have them on my
What?
iPad. Of course I do. Yeah, of course I have the Blickling homilies, dude. I'm a nerd for this
William
stuff.
Blake's Jerusalem. I mean,
Yep.
there's lots of things you can do
Yeah.
here.
Again, if it wasn't for Tolkien, I would have never started studying Anglo-Saxon and Old Norse, which would have never led me to Irish, which would have never led me back to my family history.
There's a nice
Yeah.
hat tip then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
This is the thing. Again, if you feel unmoored or unrooted in the present tense because you don't know your family history past 2 or 3 generations, right? I asked this in a sermon a couple weeks ago. Do you know your family history past your grandfather's grandfather?
How can you?
And the answer is no, because we don't talk about that stuff, even though that used to be the thing that rooted you. And so I'm doing that because, again, I have 3, 4, 5, 6 generations of alcohol in my family. That's kind of the story that our family knows. On my father's side is addiction, abuse, divorce. So I'm like, but I don't want to, that's not the story to give
That
to your
can't be the
children.
only. And that's not the only
hopeful.
story. That's not the
And
only
so
story.
I've gone, and again, I know everybody hates this, but if it wasn't for chat, I wouldn't be able to do this research and go back to the very roots of my family name and the roots of how my family got here and give that to my children as a story, because there is great folklore behind my family's name and the stories that come with that. And I've encouraged my wife now to do this. Like she knows her name now in the Swede Finn tradition, because
Mm-hmm.
her grandfather was Swede Finn and her mother's Norwegian. So I'm like, this is your name in Norwegian
No
and
wonder she
Finnish.
has that internal civil war. Look at
Of
that.
course. And so you give this to people, you give it to yourself as a gift to go, listen, maybe I don't know my grandfather's father's name, but I can leapfrog that
Mm-hmm.
and go back and recapture some of, again, it's usually paternal history that you do in the
Yeah.
old world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you get your father's name, like again,
You kind of
Gustav's
have to
son,
pick. Yeah. You
yeah,
don't. Yeah.
Lavrin's daughter. And
Mm-hmm.
so you go back, you get that. And again, it is a story because it is mythical, because you can't make a straight historical line most of the time all the way back. But what you can do is fill the gaps in with the story of, this is how I got here, and this is the people I come from, and this is where they came from. And now you can give that to your children by telling them stories like, again, the wolf people of Westmeath and Cavan, and how, yeah, that's an oral tradition and it's not historically documented. But when you talk to your 7-year-old and go, you came from wolf people, and this is how they protected themselves, they turned into wolves. Like you said, St. Christopher the dog-headed man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Was he an actual dog-headed man?
Well, I had a
No.
whole army of dog-headed men.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
actually. But you understand then that there's something of the wolf in your heart because that's your bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be afraid of this anymore because it's part of you.
But it is a primal fear to the enemy.
But it is. And so
Mm-hmm.
you give your children, you give yourself the story that inspires hope. And Tolkien is a gateway into that. And this actually, to your point then, if you look at the index in the back, those stories are there just laid out for you. And like Jerusalem's just a short poem.
Yeah. Right.
And Blake is a bridge between pre-modern and postmodern
Right.
world at that time. And also a Satanist, by the way.
Who's Old King Cole?
The original one, yeah.
Yeah, by Adam Fox.
Yeah.
I don't even know some of these.
Yeah. Old King Kill was a merry old soul. And a
Well, I
merry
know
old soul
that.
was he.
Yeah, I know it, but I don't know who
Yeah.
Adam
Now
Fox
go back
is.
to the original story and go,
Right.
oh, ooh, that's okay. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, we should do that. That'd be fun. Because again, the people that recorded these and kept these, like I talked about with Wilhelm Grimm, he was a devout Christian. His brother was more of a nationalist, but he's like, no, I need to like these need to be Christianized because this is what we do in our tradition. We Christianize pagan stories. This is what we do.
You know Farmer Giles?
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got the book.
Okay.
Farmer Giles of Ham. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's actually about purgatory.
Is it?
It's a fun one. It's a good one, actually. It kind of makes you hate purgatory even more. I know he's like trying to ease the blow, but you're like, I don't feel better now. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a tragedy in the end, as it should be. Obviously, you shouldn't want to stay in purgatory or go there in the first place.
Ooh, Wind in the Willows. When did that come out? That would have been in his lifetime,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Right?
Huh. So there must be some contemporary stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't
Okay.
that, yeah, late 19th, early 20th century?
I was going to say so.
It's got to be.
Kenneth Graham.
Yeah. Read it, never paid attention to the time period. No, we can definitely do that, because MacDonald, for example, he's cited by all of them. as kind of being-
1908.
There we go.
1908. Yeah.
And so, like MacDonald is like George MacDonald is considered like the OG of kind of Christian fantasy fairy tale writing. Tolkien credits him, but also again, you did it. You did us dirty. You kind of made the fairies not what they were originally, and so
Or
maybe that,
or maybe he's just, to be in fairness, McDonald's a different tradition of a
he
sort.
is well, and he comes from a different place, different
Yep.
people.
Yep.
You read his sermons, and
Hmm.
we did. We read
We
one of his,
did.
we read one of his
did.
sermons, and we didn't think it was so radical, but his congregation did.
Yeah.
Really too much for them.
Yeah. We wouldn't get run off for it.
No, our congregation would love us for those sermons.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic which just actually tells you that Lutheran churches are Scots Presbyterians.
Oops. As far as the preaching goes. Yeah.
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 The really rigorous kind, the Sharia law Scots Presbyterians,
Wow, that's a mixed
the hardcore guys. But again, I think that anything that we can do in the present tense to fight globalism, fight transhumanism, fight the technocratic surveillance state, and the totalitarian, like just in the last 2
And
weeks.
Anduril and
Yeah, and all that
Palantir.
stuff. Exactly. It really is to and again, to say to Palantir and Andrel, you don't get to tell us these stories this way, because
No.
that's not their original intent.
No.
And the way we fight that is to not burn down the building or protest even. It's to tell the story as it was written. This is the real story. This is why he attacks Victorian fairy tales.
It's not an encouragement, it's a warning.
Is to say, don't go online and hate tweet about the latest Snow White movie or, they ruined your Star Wars. Go back and don't tell the Star Wars story. Go back to what he stole those stories from. Go watch Kurosawa films, go watch spaghetti westerns, go watch John Ford movies, westerns, and then go back to what they stole those stories from, which were the old samurai stories, which were the medieval stories of Camelot and Arthur and Galahad and so on, which themselves were stories that came from Beowulf and the stories before them. Like Hamlet is a Norse folktale that Shakespeare repristinated.
We haven't done Beowulf.
I know we haven't. I've been fighting the urge because
it's not a one episode thing.
I've spent so many weeks on my podcast going through Beowulf.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I missed
I've
that.
done
Okay.
it. I've done it numerous times.
Okay. I know you
Yeah.
brought it up.
No, it's the gateway drug for folktales for sure. We can for sure. We can read the first part of it.
Yeah, but I think McDonald would be good because you could
We can do that too.
The Princess and the Goblin or something.
Well, again, it's really in your face, those stories, and like I said, we can use those as a jumping off point to critique them when we go back and read the older ones. We can do a series on this.
McDonald's what, 100 years before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
That'd be fun. So if you're listening and that sounds like something that's interesting to you because you liked the fiction series we did a couple summers back,
yeah, that's right.
we'd be happy to do that. Again, go back into theological imagination stuff. And also, again, vocationally as Christians, how do we Christians tell stories that are, because this is the thing, right? We don't want to tell Christian stories in the sense of like, look, Jesus, story. Rather, you tell them like Tolkien and even like Lewis did. Like Lewis is so much more on the nose than Tolkien with this stuff where you're like, yeah, that's obviously Jesus. But it is to say, we're going to take captive all of these folktales, all these myths and legends. We're going to take them captive to the gospel. Because really, in the end, that's what they're sniffing around, is they're trying to tell the story of Jesus and Eden and the fall. And they're just doing it in this folkloric tradition.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and that is the distinction actually, is that Lewis is less accumulative.
Yeah.
He's trying to be more inventive.
Yeah.
That's much more challenging than just taking all the old stories and integrating them, as Tolkien does.
Well, read Surprised at Joy, his autobiography, and read about his youth. And I think that kind of fills in the gap too of like, yeah, these are the things in my youth that inspire. And that's when I read that and went back to that because I read it.
Okay.
I read Surprised at Joy during my conversion, which helped me just convert.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and read it a couple years ago and went, oh, like I am being led back to my youth and the stories like the stories I was reading as a child were actually Christian stories, but I didn't know that because Christians weren't telling them to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now as a Christian, I'm like, oh, these are obviously Christian stories.
Well, that's that revelation that has
exactly.
to happen.
He has to show you in the time when it's the right time, the appointed time.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's the appointed time for us to do that too. We'll see.
Or we could let Sam do it with his catechism book.
In a year from now. Or we could have Sam on the show to talk about it with us. We could do that too.
I know the interview shows, I'm always reluctant because they just haven't gone well, but in my opinion.
Cindy's went well.
Well, it's just you two talking.
Well, yeah, but you said I'm going to produce.
Well, I did that because I know only so many people can interrupt at once.
The two of us talking, yeah.
We can't have three people talking on
That's
top
fair.
of each
That's
other.
fair.
It's unintelligible at that point.
We don't do groups well. We don't do three well.
No.
For us, a large group of
somebody
people
has
is
to
three.
defer in that context. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening, and thank you. I hope this was inspiring and turns you on to going back and reading Tolkien for the first time, or again for the first time. Go read Lewis and go read him at a deeper level now. Go read Barfield. Although he gets kind of wacky later in life. He kind of goes off the rails and gets into some weird mystical stuff. But read Owen Barfield. What's the woman that Tolkien was friends with too?
Dorothy Sayers.
Dorothy Sayers. Read Dorothy Sayers, of course, because the Arthurian stuff, great stuff. Go check out George MacDonald's fantasy stuff, right? Like you said, that really is the stuff that these guys grew up with. Dorothy Sayers grew up with him, and others. What's your face? I don't have my iPad with me. There's another woman that brought all these stories back to Lady something. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's Dunsany. Lord Dunsany's another guy. There's a lot of these people back in the late 19th, early 20th century that brought this stuff back and said, we got to retain this. But for Tolkien, again, on fairy stories, on the monsters and the critics, he's like, you got to go back to the source material, man. You got to go back to the roots.
Yeah, and we can read it in faith and for faith too.
100%, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I think more than anything, at least for myself selfishly, I want to inspire more of the theological imagination side of the house and less of the kind of, this is doctrine, repeat, say amen, move on.
Well, I mean, and even in our context, we have other shows, other
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
in the network that do that. Thinking
Right.
Fellows would be one.
Yeah, 100%, which is necessary. I'm not
It
saying
is.
it's not necessary, but that's the eye of reason stuff. That's systematic theology stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's to keep us inside the fence line so we don't wander off into Gnosticism.
And they're
or,
not
you know,
opposed to doing this either. It's just
Right.
not the main thing.
It's not their wheelhouse. And
Mhm.
so because we lack, what's the word, boundaries,
What boundaries? What?
we tend more towards the eye of wonder, imagination side of the house, which is the pathway of the Holy Spirit anyways, so it's all good.
Yep.
Yeah, I got turned on to this stuff by reading Lord Dunsany. You know,
Okay. There you
when
go.
I worked at Barnes & Noble, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I was at seminary, actually, when I read that.
I have no familiarity, so that'll be eye-opening
yeah.
for me.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have recommendations or just, hey man, I really like you to read that because I've never read that before. It'd be nice to listen to it on the show or read along with it. Let us know. Send us emails. Send us texts. You know how to get a hold of us. You know us. That's
We
the cool
did. We
thing.
did have the question about literature and
Yeah. The cool thing
and
about our
faith.
audience is you guys are super literate and super curious, which is super awesome. I love the fact that you're so literate. And by the way, that our live streamers can actually answer and fact check us in live real time
That's
without
right.
having to look it up on the internet, you know?
It's super, as you say.
Yeah. The Gen X people, you get us. You get us. And so
Yeah.
that's all good. All right. Well, thank you again. God bless you. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Peace.
Stopping.
Good. That was the sermon pieces that I was missing now.
Okay. Well, good.
I got it.
Glad